All right, and we are live. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Gaming Perspective Podcast, episode 36, Infinite Problems. So we've got a lot to talk about this week. Yeah, I got one chuckle out of that. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. We've got some Halo Infinite news. We've got Cyberpunk delays again and again and again. And we've got tons of other stuff to talk about, from Dualsense to Demon Souls and all that stuff that everybody's been talking about and beating to death all week. So excited to be here. And we are short Eric today because, well, Eric is being Eric. I have no other reasons. Miss the man. All right. And also from the usual panel of gentlemen that join me from Android Central, Windows Central, and iMore, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey, it's good to be here. And you know what I love about that intro, Nick? You know what I absolutely love about it? Is it used to be I knew you were coming for me, but now I can't tell. Now you got to be a little more specific.
I was wondering about the same thing too. I was like,
it used to just refer to me, but now it's like, which one is he gunning for? Which one? I'm not quite sure yet. So just putting that out there. It's just some feedback. You know, stew on it over the next week.
So I'll make sure I just curveball it to either one of you, just to keep you on your toes then.
Exactly. Make sure we're paying attention. Make sure we're actually mentally here.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I'm trying to help you. I'm doing well. Sorry, obviously, that we weren't here last night. Shenanigans happened and all that. But we're here now, so, you know, it's fun. It's good. How are you?
Absolutely. I'm here. So, also introducing from Android Central, Windows Central, and iMore. I need to find some way to abbreviate this. Mr. Jared Eden.
Well, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. It's nice to finally have that intro, honestly. It's feels good. I don't think I'll get over it for a while, but yeah, it's nice to be here, and let's get talking. We got some nice, fun things to talk about that happened this week.
Absolutely. And I'm Nicholas Downey. I'm Assistant Editor-in-Chief for lordsofgaming.net. You can find all my latest stuff over there if I actually wrote something last month. But I'm back in action this month, so I picked a terrible month to come back. I should have taken vacation this month.
You should have. You should have. That was the month to do it. You're screwed now.
Yeah. I'm down for the count now. I'm in the arm bar. I am here for all the games that I don't have time to play. So exciting times ahead. But of course, we've got to move right along, right into the news. And lo and behold, even though the memes had happened and everyone joked about it and no one thought it would happen again, Cyberpunk is getting delayed.
I'm going to need a big asterisk mark on no one thought it would happen again. Plenty of people thought it would happen again. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of them. I will eat crow. No, I'll eat crow on this. I thought they had it. I thought this was going to be it. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed, no longer coming out November 19, now coming out December 10. And what I liked about it is my feed was completely split 50-50. And everyone who isn't in the industry was going, no! And everyone who is in the industry was going, oh, thank God. Jesus. I like that dichotomy. Like, yes, I don't have to cover Valhalla and Spider-Man and Demon Souls and Cyberpunk all in the same week. There is a God. You know, it sucks. Obviously, we found out after the fact, sort of, that basically everyone at CD Projekt Red found out about this at the same time we did. We talked a lot about the studio condition there before, so I'm just going to sum it up and say not cool. Obviously, like, after this game is out, they need to figure some things out in their development pipeline. They need to take a moment. They need to breathe. They need to stop, the excessive crunch, and they need to. I'm trying to think of a succinct way to put this. Just they need to reel it back in and have a plan. The game shouldn't have been delayed 4 times while you're crunching. You see what I mean? Like, I understand the pandemic happened. It happened. It's thrown everybody for a loop. All games are coming in hot. Lots of games from studios that wouldn't have bugs are going to have bugs, and bad ones at that. Like, I get it. I understand. But you delayed this game to September. Then you delayed it to November. Then you delayed it to December. I understand having to delay it initially from April to September. That's fine. But I think the first time they had to delay it, maybe they should have just gone ahead and delayed it to December. I think they were a little over ambitious in terms of what they were trying to do. And I think moving forward, they need to solve that culture. They need to figure it out. I'm very excited for the game, obviously, but y'all, come on. Like, you need to get this stuff sorted.
Yeah, I think what really kicked them in the butt consistently was putting a date on it. Time after time. If you keep putting data on it, you're basically setting another deadline, which, now the devs are going to be basically crunching that entire time up until then. Instead, be like, we'll be like maybe holiday 2020 or 2020 to 2021. Let's give a time frame instead, like a wide time frame, so you can give some leeway, give the devs some not such a stressful situation to where they have to do all this work by this period of time, where now you can plan over a longer period of time and strategically get things done and plan it out better and tackle certain areas instead of trying to scramble to get every single area done at once. Now you can tackle individually. I don't know. I mean, they just should have planned it out better. And I understand the big hype for it, and that is such a highly anticipated title. But once is okay. Twice, all right, I understand. 3's okay. 4, okay. That's enough. Stop. Stop.
Yeah.
just put it out. If there's issues, there's issues. Deal with it. Next time, do better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of think more studios need to I understand Rockstar is very criticized for their work conditions and everything else, but I think in terms of release dates, Rockstar and particularly Bethesda is really good about, for the most part, everything kind of changed in 2020. 2020 is a curveball for everybody, but I definitely think Rockstar and Bethesda's whole thing of we won't put a date on it until we know that we can hit that date is looking increasingly better.
Yeah, although Rockstar wasn't so good about that with GTA 5. I seem to recall that game getting pushed back, 3 different times. But Bethesda, I get what you're saying. No, Todd Howard in particular is, whatever else you want to criticize, he's very good about, we will not even announce this game until we're absolutely sure we're close to the finish line. And, something to look at, for sure.
Yeah. And I prefer that because I feel like we've kind of hit this point where we're seeing games far too early. Like, I don't think we should have seen 2 trailers, ever see 2 trailers of a game and sit there and go, I wonder what the hell this game is. I'm kind of there with Everwild right now. I'm like, this looks really cool, whatever this is.
Mm-hmm.
But time will tell.
I think I'm not trying to be a reply guy here, but I think new IPs are a little different than established franchises too, because new IPs, you have to build that level of, okay, what actually is this game? You have to delve more information. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, we saw that multiple times before release, but no one's complaining. Sea of Thieves, we saw that multiple times before release, but I don't think anyone was really complaining. You have to establish what the game is actually about. That's just my take, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Siege Project Red, very much like Naughty Dog, just needs to reevaluate things after this game launches and kind of take a look at the wide varieties of things they've taken, from criticisms of work conditions to how they release their games to the dates they set for their games, and just kind of look at that and see what needs to change to make that better and more fluent and more transparent. And I think that's something everyone can get down with the kids. All right. So with much sadness, I must say that Gears Pop, which of course was developed by Mediatonic, which is the developers of Fall Guys, will officially be shutting down April 26, 2021. It had a good run. Eric just snuck in the back door. I don't know what this is, but I'm being...
This mother... Can't play with emotions like that, mister.
What's up, guys?
We had to do a full thing for you. The speech.
Be the whole rest in peace thing.
Viking feud.
Got in trouble with the wife. Dead man.
And it's like, he lives.
Yeah.
The Undertaker rising up. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, guys. Happy that I could actually make it.
Yay!
Glad you could make it too, man.
Yeah.
Joining us just in time for Gears Pop shutting down, which I know everyone was a avid player of for about 2 weeks and then fell off of. And I will say this: I put a ton of hours into that game, mainly because I could get achievements on my phone, and as an achievement nut, the idea of playing my phone and getting Xbox achievements, it's just like, oh, I like that. I really like that. That's why I really love my Windows phone. Getting achievements for playing Angry Birds was amazing. But at the same time, is that game had a very, 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 very high pay to win factor to it. I hit a point where I was like, oh, this game's great. I didn't spend any money. And then I just hit this brick wall of players where it's like, these dudes spent $500 on a mobile game. What the?
Yes. Oh, yes. In those games, they are rampant. And especially that game, you need that 1 or 2 specific characters that you need to use all the time that are just, for some reason, way too powerful, too good for that one specific patch. And then, and then it switches and you got to buy another character. So it's another $15.
Yeah. But the reason that Gears Pop is going away is, and I quote, a number of things that go into maintaining a game beyond keeping servers active.
Reading between the lines, Fall Guys is a success. See you later.
Yeah. Basically, reading between the lines, that, and to be brutally honest, I love Gears, but it does not have the mobile market appeal enough to keep a game like that going. Gears is one of the smaller IPs in Xbox's stable house. It's a good IP, but it's not their biggest. It's not like if they had a Halo mobile game or something like that. It's Gears. It's a little bit more niche, and
it's hardcore.
It's hardcore. And the thing is the hardcore Gears players were like, ick, mobile tactics game. And mobile players were like, the hell's Gears of War? And it was just kind of not a great match, unfortunately.
Yeah, I always kind of thought it was like an odd combination, of like the pop and the Gears thing, because it's too cute, but at the same time it's Gears. So, I mean, honestly, say it's too cute. It's cute, but it's not kid friendly, so to speak, as a property. Yeah. But then it's also, there's a huge culture of people who love pop, but they might not still be in the Gears enough to pull it all together. And then, like you said, the other thing is the play to win factor.
You know what it reminded me of, Eric? You know what it reminded me of? It was like in the 80s and maybe even the early 90s, like when McDonald's would have toys for like edgy PG-13 films that kids definitely shouldn't go see. Like, what was it? Batman Returns. Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of kind of that thing, or even I think Aliens. I think even Aliens, like there were toys made for kids and stuff. And it's like, y'all, what are you doing? It's not quite that extreme, but I think it still is kind of in that ball.
It's sort of like if McDonald's did like the Matrix Happy Meal toys.
Yeah.
You're like, I get it. But what are we doing here?
You guys remember those glass cups or mugs you got from the Batman movie from like McDonald's or something like that? My parents still have like 3 or 4 of them at home. They used them all the time growing up, and they never broke. They were perfect. Why don't they do stuff like that anymore? I would go probably eat a lot more junk food if I got like some wicked ass toys with my food.
Fair enough.
My general problem is I need to eat like 6 Happy Meals to get full. So.
I know it's not fair. Like you feel fat after, like then you go, I'm still not full.
Yeah. Exactly. But rest in peace, Gears Pops. We hardly knew ye. But hopefully we'll see some more unique and interesting mobile titles. And moving right along. And also for an edgy hot take, because I saw Matt Piscatella say it, so I want to echo it. Mobile gamers are real gamers.
I mean, they are. It's true.
They spend more money than I do.
Spend a lot more money than probably most of us.
Yeah. But, hey, we got something really exciting to talk about. So, y'all like Warzone, right? In your 150 gigs?
I do, yes.
Yes. Yeah, you like what your Warzone? Well, I got something even better for you. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is looking to push around 250 gigabytes in file size, according to PC spec leaks.
That's absurd. I'm cutting you off right now. That's absurd. This is ridiculous. There is no. I refuse. I refuse to believe the game needs to be that big. It doesn't. It doesn't have to. They don't have to. They shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, mustn't. Like, no, it doesn't. Like, stop it, Treyarch.
Warzone, please be a part of that 250.
Rest in peace, your SSD.
Jared, I'm dead serious. Watch that not even include Warzone. Watch them be like, no, that's Black Ops Cold War.
That's just a single player in zombies. How did you make it 250 gigs?
Actually, I want to point out to Justin in the chat. Shout out to Justin in the chat. That's at launch before any updates. Warzone used to be sub 100 gigabytes pre-updates. The problem with Call of Duty is there used to be, when I played Smite, they had a brilliant way of updating the game. It kind of sucked, but what they would do is when they updated the game, it would re-update the entire file size. So you'd have to reload the whole game again, but it would keep the file size the same. Warzone, they just keep like slapping, here's a 10 gigabyte patch on top of your 110. Here's a 20 gigabyte patch. I'm just like, holy, like I literally at one point, I downloaded a bunch of Warzone patches and I watched my hard drive on my Xbox One go.
You know what? As someone that has like 2 individual 500 gigabyte hard drives on my computer, that hurts.
And y'all, what are you doing? Like, and it's bad enough. It's bad enough on current gen where it's easy for us to just have like, yeah, I've got a 8 terabyte external. I'll just plug in there. It's bad enough there. What about these new systems?
Yeah.
Where if you want to have the game optimized, if you want to play it in 120 FPS, 4K, ray tracing, all that good stuff, you're killing just a massive chunk of your SSD at launch. Like we know the Xbox Series X has like, I think 802, someone correct me, gigabytes of space.
Yeah, something like that.
PS5 is going to have less than that. Series S is going to have less than that. Like, no.
Yeah.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm literally buying an Xbox Series S to be my Call of Duty machine.
Just
Warzone and Cold War.
I don't know if you can even install it on the S afterwards to see how big the operating system takes up on the S version. Then we'll talk about it, because if you have like 300 gigabytes, nope, you're not. Sorry, buddy. You got to pick one or the other. Warzone or
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
My biggest question is, I understand these massive file sizes, okay? Like, when you say Red Dead Redemption 2 has 100 gigs of files, I look at that game, I look at the scale, I look at the textures, I look at the animations, I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. I played that alpha of the Cold War beta. What the fuck is in those 250? It's not textures. It's not good sound quality. It's not good fucking multiplayer services. I was having the same fucking issue Justin was. My fucking PlayStation 4 controller would desync after like 2 matches. I'd sit there, it would literally brick my PlayStation 4.
That is a weird bug. I didn't know it was possible to break the game, like a game in that way, but Treyarch, good on you, Treyarch. You somehow figured it out.
Yeah, impressive. Actually, anytime these things come up, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of think immediately like, oh man, what is this doing to the base PS4 and to the base OG Xbox One? What is people just sitting there watching a slideshow on their
Look, Activision has proved endlessly after releasing Black Ops 3 on the Xbox 360 that they give zero shit to the quality that you get. Oh, you're playing this on 360? I hope you like PowerPoint, motherfucker.
Man.
I literally remember my friend doing a video like back in like the YouTube days and him comparing textures, and he's like, there was whole chunks of the map that were missing. It was like, oh, in the Xbox One version, there's a tank here. In this version, there's a flat piece of brown.
You get brown. That's it. Not brown details, not brown grays. You get brown. That's all there is. Oh man!
Or base consoles. They're gonna be like the kids who get invited to the slumber party, but everyone knows they still wet the bed. It's like, oh, I'm not sleeping next to him, man.
To be fair, the 360 version of Black Ops 3 was actually the best version because it didn't include the campaign.
You know what? He raises a valid point. It's something you have to consider.
Yeah.
Black Ops 3's campaign, not to go on tangent, is one of the only games I can say is truly insulting. Like there's masterpieces, there's incredible games, there's good games, there's not so good games, mediocre games, bad games, terrible games. Only a select few are truly insulting. So he raises a valid point here that I have to think about.
I'm glad I never played that one then.
You're not. You are missing nothing, and it will take from you everything.
I'll never touch that game.
Yeah, literally. Right. Wasn't Black Ops 3 the one where you could they gave you all the mission selection? You could pick any random mission in any random order you wanted.
Nicholas, I'm going to need you to imagine yourself in a frozen forest. Okay, and
we live in Canada, so it's not hard.
Okay.
Yeah, you made a good point. Dang it. Okay. So yeah, I know it wasn't on our original docket, so Eric, this will come as a surprise to you, but Nick, I suppose this is a good point to segue into Activision's earnings.
Yeah, because look at the shit they're peddling, and this is how much money they're making.
Yeah, okay. So if you want even more hard financial print seen by lawyers evidence that this game doesn't need to come out, Activision posted their results for quarter 3 2020. $1.95 billion. For context, that's about 40% higher than what they thought they were going to get. All due to Call of Duty, mainly. It's just Call of Duty. 2/3 of the copies of Modern Warfare sold were digital copies. And Call of Duty Modern Warfare, last year's game, has sold more in its first year than any Call of Duty game ever in history. This game has better legs in its for a 12-month period than any Call of Duty game of all time. TLDR, Call of Duty printer go it's I'm running out of words to explain how successful Modern Warfare is. It is starting to, I'm dead serious, it's starting to leave Call of Duty zone and starting to scratch it like Rockstar territory of how stupid well this game is selling. And that's before you get into the money they're making off of microtransactions and all that. Making it all the more infuriating that they're putting Cold War out this year when it could have used a full year delay.
Yeah.
This would have been the year, Activision. This would have been the year.
Right, Warzone.
Yep, exactly. But Bobby needs a new yacht, so
literally what they could have done, and I think myself, most fans in general, they could have done campaign story DLC to fill out the need for a campaign.
That's fair. That's fair, yeah.
Sell it for $30. Give people a Modern Warfare 3 remaster to shut them the hell up, and away you go and print money so that the next one. Because the thing is it's so astronomically terrible than compared to Modern Warfare. It's blindingly painful. This is Black Ops 2 to Call of Duty Ghosts all over again. It's like, why the fuck am I moving over?
No, absolutely. In fact, it's worse. I do agree with you. Shout out to Raven. Poor Raven is making the campaign for Cold War, and they don't deserve any crap. I'm glad Raven gets to do something again, and honestly, it will come as no surprise to me if the campaign is the best part of this game, because Raven's doing it and not Treyarch proper. But yeah, if they had just sold the campaign separately, yeah, that would have been fine. But Modern Warfare is superior to what we have seen from Cold War in every way: animation, detail, frame rate, server tick rate, server stability. Just name something, and Modern Warfare, from what we have seen, is doing it better. So, and with the stupid amount of money Activision is making, I'm sorry. I know I've said this like 40 times before, but it is downright frustrating to me that they're pushing this game out this year because it's going to hurt the brand. Like, it will not sell as well. There's no way. It will not sell as well as Modern Warfare. It's still going to sell well because it's Call of Duty. But on top of that, now, because the 3-year cycle is gone, they are going to have to crunch over an Infinity Ward to get the next Modern Warfare game out next year instead. They've ruined the whole cycle. They've wrecked everything, and just. Okay, sorry. That's my last statement on this thing.
Not mad. Speak on it. It basically sums it up pretty damn good.
Yeah, like all I can say is like I really gotta wonder like it feels like they're not even like I remember pre-Modern Warfare coming back up. I was literally like baseball bat to the head with advertisements every single day. I literally walked into my EB Games to pay off my Xbox Series X one, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to pre-order Call of Duty?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's coming out, isn't it?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, AC Valhalla, Yakuza, like, yeah, I really, really do not care about Call of Duty this year. Like, there is not a fiber of my soul that has made me excited for that game." And I really don't want my next-gen console to have 3/4 of its hard drive full and then explode because it runs so poorly. But yeah, people are going to buy it, then they're going to cry about it, and then they're going to keep playing it, and they're going to cry about it some more, and they're going to buy microtransactions, and they're going to cry about it some more, and Bobby Kotick's going to buy the bottom half of the United States after the Civil War.
That's dirty.
Yeah, it's just how the world's going at this point. Speaking of things that maybe we didn't know needed to be delayed, got delayed in Ubisoft's financial reports, which it's always interesting to me that Ubisoft does a lot of its delays via its financial reports. We find out more about their delays and when games are expected to come via their financial reports than any other means usually. So Rainbow Six Quarantine and Far Cry 6 have been pushed back. They will be releasing, sometime after April 2021. Really okay with this because Far Cry 6, I need to save up for the Flamethrower Collector's Edition. So I am fine with that. And Rainbow Six Quarantine, I still have no idea what's going on with that or what that's going to be or what. But hey, more Rainbow Six, so I'm happy about that. Is there any Ubisoft games that are really on your guys' radar right now that you're really like itching to play? Were these games you were itching to play, or?
I said a lot recently. So Jared or Eric, if y'all have something to say, please do.
As in terms of delayed games or coming out,
games either delayed or don't have dates because Ubisoft doesn't have a lot of dates on their stuff right now.
Well, let's put it this way: if it's not Let's Dance, I'm probably interested. Because I'm a really big Ubisoft fan. I like primarily most of their games. Like Far Cry, love that series. I like the Rainbow Six series. Like before I met you guys, I actually used to play a crap load of Rainbow Six Siege. Used to be really good at that game, but stopped playing that, and now I have a PC. I don't dare touch it on PC because they're freakishly next level. I'm not going to touch that multiplayer. Anyways, and then you got Valhalla and all that kind of stuff. I've just been like, I don't mind that they're delayed as long as they're good. I'm really looking forward to Quarantine. I kind of was hoping to see that a little bit sooner. Far Cry, I'm willing to wait and see because after 5, it just feels like a bit of repetition. My favorite one's been Far Cry Primal because that's such a vastly different type of Far Cry than what it typically was at the time. And it's still a gorgeous game. It's great. The setting that it's in works perfect with the mechanics. I fucking love that game. So Far Cry 6, that can wait a bit. But yeah, I think Quarantine's the only one I'm really truly super interested in because I like a good shooter zombie game. And then you're kind of taking Rainbow Six Siege and doing that sort of aspect or something like it. And that makes me very, very interested. Especially now seeing how Siege works and how it is supported now and how nicely it runs. Like on Series X, it runs at over 120 frames a second at unlocked frame rate. That's pretty damn insane. That's impressive. So I expect Quarantine to be the same.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Eric? Any Ubisoft games you're looking forward to?
Well, yeah, with the ones that are out, I'm actually very interested in. Excuse me. In why am I drawing a blank? Sorry, guys.
Legion.
Watch Dogs. Sorry.
Watch Duggies.
It's been a long day. So yeah, that's on my definitely on my radar. But as far as what's been delayed, I'm not a Rainbow Six player, so I don't have a whole lot to say about that one. Far Cry 6, I'm mainly interested because of Giancarlo Esposito. And like Jared said, I'm kind of in the wait and see on that one because the problem with these Far Cry games and their antagonists is they hype them up and then they're rarely like a thing that delivers.
Yeah.
You know, or not used well. And I'm just hoping that if you have a guy like Giancarlo being in your game, he can play such a good villain. Like, you better utilize every piece of it, you know? So, and I haven't really played a Far Cry game like all the way through since 3, really. Like, I started 4, then it felt so similar. And I was kind of like, you know, I kind of got my feeling that 3 was so awesome. And then I didn't even bother with 5. So
similar, just prettier.
Yeah. So flip side of that, I'm not at all bothered when a game gets delayed anymore. It's just we have so much to play. There's so much to focus on. My backlog is ridiculous as it is. So I'm like, do what you got to do. When you drop it, you drop it, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And I think what's kind of great is I think we're going to see a lot of spring delays. I think a lot of games that are announced for spring are going to get pushed back because pandemic realization is going to kick in that we're in this for a longer haul than a lot of people thought we were going to be. And I'm kind of okay with it because there's a ton of games coming out in winter that we know are coming out. And having the time to actually play those into spring is actually going to be kind of nice. And like, I've actually been catching up on my backlog. So delays are okay with me. I've beaten up like 7 games out of my backlog the past 2 weeks. And I'm like, I'm getting there. Look at The Witcher 3 and Persona 5. Like, I got to find a month to dedicate to you guys.
No. It's not happening.
But no, like I definitely think the Witcher 3 playthrough will be coming with the Series X free upgrade. That's definitely going to be
free. That's so nice that it's a free upgrade. I love free upgrades.
Music to my ears.
I'm so glad CD Projekt Red has the control to do that. But we're
really makes you go the extra mile in wondering which games you're going to be swinging into. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
He's just like,
come on. It's very rare that Sam takes it past the level I do, and I'm just so proud right now. But Sam, to wrap it up, were any of these titles you excited for, or are you kind of cold on Ubisoft right now?
In terms of the broader Ubisoft spectrum, I am in on Valhalla. I said this back when the game leaked, and I said it when it was revealed, and I'm saying it now. I'm stupid. I like Vikings. I like Norse culture. So they've got that's just how it is. Like, I want a big, dumb, open world to lose myself in and not like necessarily finish, but like, hey, play it for a couple of hours today. Hey, I'll play it for a couple of hours this weekend. I want that, and Valhalla looks like it's going to offer that. So in the broader context, in the broader scope, I'm definitely going to play that. In terms of these 2 games specifically, I am a Rainbow Six Siege. Ooh, nice, Jared. I am a Rainbow Six Siege player, so I'm curious about Quarantine, but I'm also a little weirded out that like Far Cry 6 getting delayed. I get February was always kind of optimistic, even with Ubisoft's size, but like with the pandemic, like I get it. Like, sure, if you want to delay that game a couple of months, that's fine, whatever. But Far Cry Quarantine, I'm tired and y'all. Rainbow Six Quarantine. Y'all, this is one of those games that was delayed back in October 2019. Remember that? Remember over a year ago when Ubisoft had their financial call and they just said, yeah, we're delaying everything for several months? That was a long time ago. Rainbow Six Quarantine was one of those games. It was first announced at E3 2019, I believe. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So
you're correct.
I'm not like, I don't know, like I'm interested, but it's kind of, okay, what's going on? Is it just timing? Like, is it the name? Is it you think that maybe the lockdown will be up by April 2021? Like, I wouldn't blame you if that's the case. It's just I don't know. It's weird. It is what it is. And as for Far Cry 6, I will get it. But again, I'm stupid and I like Giancarlo Esposito. I think he's a phenomenal actor. So it's like, Eric, I get what you're saying, but also, even if they don't do anything different, I'm probably just going to buy it anyways because I'm dumb like that. And if I get to hear him give some villain speech about how you and I are not so different, then dang it, I'll make an exception because it's Giancarlo Esposito, so it's fine if it's him doing it. Like it's
same boats.
It's like, yeah, I have to admit, me and my wife have been rewatching Breaking Bad, and
so good. That's the goat.
He can do everything. Yeah, I keep forgetting about Immortals because I'm like, God, whatever happened to that dope game called Gods and Monsters? And someone's like, it's that one with the weird name.
That game is coming out this year. That's right. I completely forgot. Yeah. Okay, I actually am getting it. Because I know the graphics aren't that impressive, but every person I know who has actually played it has said, hey, for everyone who likes Breath of the Wild but complains about the weapons breaking, here's your game. And so I'm like, you know what? Okay, interactive systems and a world to explore, but the weapons don't break? Okay. All right. Like, I'll play it. So, I forgot about that, but Nick, I will play that. I will get that one.
I'm interested in. I have that one on my radar also.
Yeah.
I'm worried about like where my mental is right now because I'm tripping on the fact that I just tweeted about Watch Dogs Legion earlier and then I couldn't remember the name in the moment.
Eric, if it somehow makes you feel any better, I couldn't remember if Empire of Sin was that gangster XCOM or something related to Doom before this show started. Like, we're all there, man. Okay, like our brains are scrambled. It's just it's
like everything's running together. Everything's running together at this point, man.
It's fine,
but don't worry.
It's all right.
While the world crumbles to pieces, one thing will preserve us. And that is that Bug Snacks is coming to PlayStation Plus. So we're going to talk about this. There isn't much to talk about. I think this is a smart move because who the hell was paying $79.99 for Bug Snacks besides Greg Miller? Greg Miller was paying $80 for Bug Snacks, but none of the rest of us.
I don't know. Dan seemed pretty intense on that game.
I'm just saying.
That too.
Yeah, I can't think about Bug Snacks without thinking about Dan.
Exactly.
Well, Dan's a little oddball in his taste. Like, me and him are making General Jousting 2 69 edition in Dreams, so stay tuned for that sequel that you never needed. But yeah, so Bug Snacks is hitting PlayStation Plus, and this also piggybacks on the announcement that Destruction All-Stars, which was another game no one was going to pay $80 for, will also be hitting PlayStation Plus, but in February.
Yeah, I don't think Bug Snacks was 80.
25?
Oh, 25 Canadian.
Oh, okay. It goes from $25 to $80 Canadian.
They got that moose tax.
To know that.
Actually, hold on. I got pulled up. Hold on. Let me actually look. Bug Snacks Canada.
Right. It's like $50 or some shit like that.
I can't even find a listing for it in Canada. They don't even want to. Oh, it's 50. Whoa, hold on. No, never mind. I was like $5.99. No, they're trying to sell me a PlayStation 5. I'm like, $5.99 for Bug Snacks in Canada. But yeah, so Bug Snacks is hitting PlayStation Plus. Destruction All-Stars is hitting PlayStation Plus in February. I think this is really smart. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to see that PlayStation's kind of using PlayStation Plus to put their smaller titles in. Kind of how Xbox does with Game Pass, but in a different way. It's not really, you can't really compare apples to oranges, but PlayStation's finding inventive ways for their smaller titles to get into people's hands. And I think we saw this work really well with, as Sam brought up pre-show, Fall Guys was a perfect example of this. Jared brought up as well. Jared, help me. You brought up a game too.
I thought Jared said Rocket League because that was in PS Plus.
Yeah,
it was Fall Guys that I brought up. I brought up Fall Guys.
Okay,
Yeah,
Jared brought up Fall Guys.
know.
Sam
I
brought
don't
up.
know.
Okay, what? Somebody brought up Fall Guys. Somebody brought up Rocket League. Okay, there
Either
we go.
way, they're both successful. Okay.
Yeah. They're both hella successful. They blew up in PlayStation Plus. I think PlayStation's starting to draw a correlation that if you get certain games into people's hands and they get a hold of them, people will play them. Other people will buy them. Because I think the most mind-blowing thing about Fall Guys to me was not only was it free to play on PlayStation Plus, it was a top paid game on PlayStation. So I'm like, there's people with PlayStation Plus subscriptions. They're going out and buying this game. Weird, super weird. But
it's discovery. It's like Game Pass, dude. It's like Game Pass. It's the fact that if a game launches there, then it is seen by more eyeballs overall, which means more people buying it than they would otherwise. For Microsoft, it's Game Pass, but Sony is picking up on the fact that, hey, these games that maybe people don't want to buy outright immediately, launch them in PS Plus, and they're seeing a lot of success. I mean, I'm not even remotely looking forward to Destruction All-Stars, but it's going to do way better this way. Like, objectively, it will do way better as a PS Plus launch title. That's a good way to get people to just hop in and check it out immediately.
That's why I feel like demos in a big way need to come back for large titles. Like, I don't know. Like, it's great to put games into like PS Plus to see the successes and stuff like that, but you could also do the alternative route and just put like a demo out, at least for other titles and whatnot, and just be like, hey, here's a portion of a game we want you to play. Just try it out so you can make a decision instead of having all those people are going to be like, no, it doesn't look good to me, so I'm not going to play it. I'll try it if I get a chance, and then that might sway my decision. You need to get those people in. But yeah, I honestly, if they keep going the whole add that one game to PS Plus, make it free, get all the eyes on it, get all the people playing it, you will see that success, like Fall Guys, like Rocket League. And you're going to continue seeing games with that type of success, especially if they get that type of exposure, especially with streamers. Like, that's another big reason why those games blew up, and especially like Among Us. That's not a PlayStation game, but that was a mobile game that came out last year. And then a couple streamers already suddenly picked it up, and then it exploded. So it's basically by putting that one game into PS Plus, you're getting that extra bit of exposure, that extra set of eyes, and the extra set of hands of actually playing the game that spreads by word of mouth, and more people end up playing. You get your friends in, whatnot, and it exponentially explodes. So keep doing that. Toss some Bug Snacks into there. Sure, I wasn't going to buy it, but now I might get it. Probably will get it, actually, because hot dog arms.
I mean, it's in PS Plus. Like, why not? That's
and like, I want to smack things with hot dog arms.
Yeah. And I'm a sick bastard, but I really want there to be like a dark twist to this game. Like, I want this to be some horrific shit at the end of this game. Like, I want it to be this cutesy animal game, and then all of a sudden, all the animals are getting eaten and slaughtered. That's all I want in this game.
He wants like the Lord of the Flies version of Bugsnax, where there's like a section of the island where they're like cannibalizing each other.
I was just gonna say, watch. You'll have all these characters that'll eat all these animals, and they'll start changing the food, and then they'll be an entire food item themselves, and you'll look at them and go, "Oh, you're not really a creature anymore, are you?"
Yeah.
Come here.
What I want is it to be a hardcore survival game, and if you start starving, you can eat your own arm.
Chop it off.
But no, to piggyback on Jared's excellent point about demos, I was actually reading a thread by a developer by the name of Dylan Rogers, who's doing an upcoming immersive sim game called Gloomwood, which is available as a demo on Steam. He said one of the biggest things that he learned in the development of this game, and piggybacking off of the success of other games that were done by the publishers that publish his game, with Dusk, Medieval, Maximum Action, was that a demo, if you're a smaller developer, gets people in the door to try your game because it's free, and people will go, fuck it, why not? And then they may find out they love that game. They didn't know they liked that kind of game, and it gets people in the door. Because like Bugsnax has a cute charm to it. It's kind of like Super Lucky's Tale. It's got that cute. It draws it in. Like my daughter thinks Bugsnax is the cutest thing in the world, and I'm like, I'm not paying for that. But it's going to take up space on my PS4 for a while because I do believe it's on PlayStation 4 as well. That's one of the cross-gen ones, right?
I'm not the Bugsnax aficionado, but let me look it up. I'm not 100% sure.
It's on PS5, PS4, and Epic Game Store. And it is worth pointing out, it's only coming to PS Plus for PS5, not on PS4. That is something important to point out here.
I'm angry. Not getting my 35 maple dollars for that.
Well, you can just go ahead and like grab the game on your account. That's the thing. You can go ahead and grab the PS. I assume, unless they're introducing some weird new rule for PS Plus PS5 games, which I don't think they are. There's no reason for them to. Like, unless they've changed something, you will be able to just go online, go through your account, and grab the game that way. So, because I know you're not getting a PS5 at launch, but like eventually when you have one, you'll have it that way.
As soon as they stock the digital one, I'm not paying $100 for a disc drive. So moving right along, speaking of PlayStation 5, we got some Dualsense impressions, and my God, did everyone get massively erect for this controller? To fundamentally state it in the lowest possible fashion, in the classiest way I know how. So a lot of great impressions about the controller, a variety of different key points. The size was applauded because it's similar in size to the Xbox One controller. I told people the DualShock 4 is tiny. I'm sorry, I am right. The adaptive, the haptic feedback, the triggers, the resistance, the accessibility that you can turn all of that stuff off, the attention to detail, the durability, all of it summarizing into a very, very solid controller. And from what I have seen is looking to shape up to be the best PlayStation controller that they've had. Not a huge fan of the guy, but Yang Yi's comparison of how durable the controller was by taking the DualShock 4 and twisting it and listening to it creak, snap, and otherwise want to crumble into a little ball, and then taking the DualSense and trying to do the same thing, and it very much holding its shape and everything else. Very impressive build for it. I've got questions that I didn't necessarily get answers out of impressions. Like, my questions involve, like, you know, if the motor dies in one of my triggers, like, what does that do to the controller long term? Like, does that just mean that function doesn't work, or will that trigger stop working? Like, those are questions like I don't have the technical know-how to know, and I kind of want to know, because controllers got to be expensive, y'all. If games are going up, accessories have to go up too, and I'm scared.
Yeah, because it's already $90 Canadian to buy that DualShock 5, so...
Well, wait. The DualSense is 90 Canadian? That's a $20 jump.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's 70 for us in the US. Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody's making up for it
because
everywhere.
Our DualShock 4s are 69? 74?
I don't know. I've only ever used one.
Wow.
Hold on. Let me I want to fact check this so I don't. DualShock 4 Canada price. Let me double check here.
You guys in Brazil, man.
74.99 for a new DualShock 4 via Walmart.ca.
DualSense is like, it's like fucking $90.
Yeah, it's same thing with Joy-Cons up here too. Joy-Cons after tax is $100.
Yeah,
so
it's insane.
But to piggyback on the DualSense as well, Astro's Playroom has been getting some really good impressions from what people have been playing of it, and you know, I'm not surprised. Astro, like, the VR game was applauded as one of the best VR games out there. So it doesn't surprise me that they managed to do something amazing with the DualSense controller. Any of you guys super interested in getting hands-on with the DualSense? Or, well, obviously you guys, I think almost all of you except for me and Jared have PlayStation 5 pre-orders. So you'll be getting hands-on with it soon enough. But interested in Astrobot and your overall thoughts on the DualSense. And me and Jared will go last because obviously we're not going to have them.
Yeah.
Eric, anything in particular?
I'll jump in. Like, the impressions, just really, really cool. It definitely seems in a lot of ways, I know, again, there's a lot of things that happen in the bubble that if you continue to pay attention to all of it, it starts to kind of seep into your brain, and you think that's the way it all kind of works, and not realizing there's a greater plan and a greater idea, and that companies actually listen. So it does sound like, Sony, while they're not as vocal in the social media space, that it seems like they did listen to feedback of what people had to say about the DualShock in general. They definitely, if you go back and pick up a PS3 DualShock, the DualShock 4 was much better than that in a lot of ways. And now it sounds like the DualSense is taking it to a different level, but it also sounds like they really wanted to, invest in bringing something different or putting a big focus on that. And it sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. I know people brought up concerns as far as will developers adopt it. That remains to be seen, but I'm pretty sure Sony first party is where it'll definitely be at. They seem to be pretty dedicated to that, so I think it'd probably be safe to say that most of them probably have features in mind, for those games. But no, it's really cool to see people really enjoying or saying that the build quality is excellent. We'll see how the battery life is. So these will be all like real world application as we go along. And I'm pretty sure, Nick, you'll start to get your answer as time goes on, and these things are used in like the real world scenarios of playing games, daily for hours on end, stuff like that. And again, we talk about the bubble when it comes to things like Bug Snacks. It became like a big meme, but again, that's a game that, depending on what it is and how it goes, can catch fire. And I think when you look at something, like Astro's Playroom, that's a pretty smart pack-in, because right out of the box, you're not, it's built into the console. I'm guessing it's a game that you could probably delete, maybe free up some space at some point. I don't know for sure, but that's the kind of thing you want to throw in and give people an idea of exactly what your thinking is on this new piece of tech. But the cool thing is, it sounds like it wasn't just a throwaway. Sort of, I've seen people make the comparison of Wii Sports, which was huge. Wii Sports sold a lot of Wiis for Nintendo, and then when you look at Astro and you play with the whole idea of like mascot, it definitely seems like they're really like into the idea of, using him and, setting him up for, like fan base type stuff. And what I understand too is there's a lot of callbacks to Sony Legacy.
Yeah, Eric, not to interrupt you, but almost like they want him to be the mascot for like pushing tech forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Introducing him first with the PSVR game, and then now here with, the DualSense and this. I wouldn't be surprised if like he's one of the first games, and we can talk about Jim Ryan's statements on this, which are a little concerning later, but whenever there is a PSVR 2, I wouldn't be surprised if they use him for that in terms of pushing forward whatever they do there as well.
Yeah. Because look at like the design of the console, the color scheme, and the whole nine. It definitely plays into this whole thing. And I think, messaging aside, we've talked before about their, Sony's messaging in general with Generations talk, but I think part of that talk was what they're saying in things like the DualSense and like the technology that they're playing with when they say they believe in Generations, throwing some new things in there, seeing, with sticks, stuff like that, the game side of it notwithstanding, but
and also the fact that they said Ghost of Tsushima would be the last PS4 game. Let's not give them too much credit there. I know what you're saying, but
but I'm just saying, again, I throw it back to the bubble. And like I said, I'm really trying to break out of this mentality of everything that we do. We pick the skin off the chicken on everything. Everything Phil Spencer says, everything Jim Ryan says gets pick. And sometimes, companies say things, and that's the first thing you have to remember is companies, CEOs in particular, say things to talk to, the things that they're trying to do or the things that they don't have, either way. So, but I'm just saying in general, when you talk about, I think part of that message in Generations was the things that they're trying to do with the PS5 in general. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't take them to task for the Generations and the games part of it. The messaging was still, however you want to look at it. But I'm just saying, if we're going to talk CEOs and things that they say, you know, we hold them all accountable. You know, I'll say too, you know, Phil has said things that he's walked back on as well. You know, so
sure,
it happens. CEOs, that's what they're going to do, the best thing for their company.
And
line,
sometimes they have to say something to appease the investors at the time too. Make sure, we're doing something publicly. Hey, don't drop your points in the stock market just yet. Don't do it. We're doing okay.
Yeah, and not to go like and throw things into a complete, you know, side tangent or whatever. But like Jared is saying, if sometimes that does happen, you have an idea about something, and then the shareholders like, there's a lot of money to be made over here doing this. Why are we doing that? And then you have to switch and change that, you know, and it makes you look stupid. It does happen. So,
yeah, and I think a big part of the Jim Ryan foot in the mouth with Generations thing was I truly believe that was their game plan for a point in time. But I definitely think, you know, as soon as pandemic hit and we started looking at the fact that we weren't going to be mass producing these units, you look at the fact that, you know, analysts are saying that, you know, you're not going to be able to walk into a store and buy an Xbox or a PlayStation for a very long time. You know, your install base is going to be held to what you can produce right now versus where it was based off consumer demand previously. So I can understand why Sony shareholders would sit there and go, yeah, you know what? We're not too giddy about you just abandoning 113 million PlayStation 4 users for hardware sales that we're not making money on. Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, this is going to be one of the first hardware generations where neither Sony or Microsoft are making money on these consoles. They're making money on the software side of things. It's not the hardware they're making money on at this point. Accessories and software is where Microsoft and PlayStation are making their bank. And I think that's a directional change that both companies are going through. And I think everyone's had to walk back something before. The only company that doesn't walk things back is Nintendo, because they just full bore walk in a different direction and go, what? Come on, keep up.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if Nintendo had bugs, that's like $60.
That's cheap there. Wait, never mind. That's US.
Yeah, but
that's US.
But if you want to, like, you know, kind of chuckle or, you know, make light of it, whatever the case may be, you could say like one part of Sony was still thinking very traditional, and the other part like, no, we don't have to do that because the base of these systems are the same architecture, whereas before generations did get cut off because the architecture would completely change.
Yeah.
It sounds like somebody at Sony was kind of like, oh yeah, that's the way we used to do it, and someone's like, oh no, now we're doing it this way. And like Nick said, you know, a lot of different variables probably hit. They probably did have an idea that, you know, they were going to cut things off and kind of try to push people over, because Jim did say that they were figuring out how to get people over to PS5. And in a pandemic world, there's just too much. It's just too much unknown. Mm-hmm. You know, so he has to eat that one, and how they move going forward. Yeah, that's what I said. Take them to task, hold them accountable, be vocal. You know, but just at the end of the day, I just think, just remember, every company's going to sell you their goods the best way they can, but their interest is going to be them making their money, you know, making the shareholders happy, and separating you from your dollar. You know,
that's just, which is probably a good segue into Jim's latest interview. If you want to go over that stuff.
Absolutely. Shoot.
Yeah, so Jim did a couple of interviews with GamesIndustry.biz and with Washington Post, and he talked about a couple of interesting things. I encourage reading the full thing. He talks about how a rise in female protagonists has led to more women, percentage-wise, playing PlayStations. So, you know, with mascots like Ellie and Aloy, you know, and Last of Us and Horizon, that makes sense. He talks about like the difficulties of launching in the pandemic, how they're actually launching more PS5s than they did PS4s in terms of shipped units. And they'll probably sell whatever they ship and all that. But he also mentions, and this is what we were just talking about, how, quote, our eyes have been lifted regarding the number of new PS4 players during the ongoing pandemic, and that because of that, the audience is going to make up the majority of PlayStation owners through at least 2022. So we're finding it crucial to keep them engaged. And so I think that's interesting, pointing to what you said, Eric, about them changing strategies or whatever, because previously their commentary from Jim and elsewhere, especially Cerny, had been, hey, we want to transition people as fast as possible. Even in April and May, they were talking about how they wanted PlayStation owners to swap from the PS4 to the PS5 quicker than any other generation before.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that the PS4 is going to be the majority through 2022 doesn't sound like that'll happen anymore. At least to me, at least to my ears. So the question I want to pose to you is, do we think the next God of War is coming to PS4 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
like, to me, that game.
That's kind of
would
what I
have
was
to-
afraid of.
Yeah, well, like, and we need to keep this in mind to where, well, it's not us, but like, a lot of people need to keep in mind if a game has already started development or was a project that started, 2, 3, 4 years ago, it's going to be a cross-generation game. It's not going to be purely next generation because it hasn't had enough time to sit there and be developed for just purely next generation consoles. The technology hasn't been around long enough for developers to use it. They haven't learned to use a new set of tools. In fact, there hasn't even been, I guess there's still new tools needing to come out for the developers to use that are still being made for them to properly utilize all this new next generation technology. So what you're seeing right now is the fruits of developer labor at the end of the generation that are using as the technology they have currently to the best of their ability to create these games just for their platforms in general. Now, some might end up being pure next generation titles, but they're still going to be basically current generation software. We haven't seen that transitional step into a true next generation game just yet. It's going to be a couple of years still. So with them still focusing on their player base for up until 2022 is probably the smartest bet to do right now, because then you're not also putting the stress on the developers to be like, hey, you need to be just doing this and dividing your fan base from this one to this console and causing headaches. And yeah, I understand that's going to also drive innovation into creating, next generation experiences, whatnot, but you're also segregating your fan base, and it's not a good look. Keep it going, but still try to do those innovations. Like if a new project starts now, last year, okay, I can see that being an only next generation title. So games like Horizon Forbidden West, the next God of War, and any other title from PlayStation is coming out in 2021 and 2022, more than likely will be cross-generational up until maybe 2023 when you'll see the true next generation only experiences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's well said.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I definitely think I can definitely see the world where this game was also on PS4. And I think just like with Microsoft, obviously your better version will be on the newer hardware and the different features and things like that. And like Jared said, we'll probably see some of that, equally going forward for a while. It's just, again, you throw in the fact that the hardware from this point going forward is very similar. So they can kind of scale back what they need to, do this over here and do that. So yeah, I would, if I had to guess, like if you put a gun to my head right now, I guess, that game will probably be a PS4 game too. But it also depends, I guess, too, what it is and when it's going to hit. If it is like an extension of God of War 2018, because we have talked about the fact that there were some loose ends in that game.
Right.
I personally, I never took it as being God of War 2, like that type of thing. I kind of felt like maybe this is like an extension type game,
a continuation
kind of continuation, and then there'll be like a true God of War 2 that will be only a PS5 only game. That was kind of like my thinking, but it was one of those things we talked about, and I said I'll just wait till we know more. But since we're kind of just throwing ideas out there and stuff like that, I can see that being that. And again, it does seem like Sony has made that pivot. Now they have always been pretty good about support on their older consoles, for years into the new generation. But this is a little bit different as far as the software side of it, because they did have the cutoffs, obviously, because of the architecture, but they were always good about still having some games that were specific to the last generation versus the newer generation. So they've always been good on that level. But it does seem like they are taking some pivots. They're looking at some things differently, and that's ultimately what you want. You don't want them to be too stagnant. And over 100 million users definitely speaks, especially in a world where, architecture wise, there is a reason to keep supporting that, because not everyone's going to move fast for a lot of different reasons, So.
Yeah, I think it depends on two factors. And the biggest two factors for me on God of War is what this God of War announcement actually was. And what I mean by that is God of War God of War teases 2021 actually coming in 2021, or are we seeing more in 2021? Because they weren't necessarily clear that the game was releasing in 2021. I honestly took that as we're going to show you more in 2021. I don't take that as a rock solid release date.
Right.
I agree with you. I would also argue to you that they know what they're doing by just putting 2021 at the end of a trailer.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't know what
I'm
not saying they don't know what they're doing, but it's the same thing as they baited people to buy PS4s for like 4 years with The Last of Us Part 2. I don't think they're above doing that, and I don't think that's a bad business choice either.
No, I get it. I said the first reveal, even as excited as I am for that, if it's a full sequel, I don't see it coming out in 2021. Not with the pandemic, not with everything, and that does go to what Eric says. Well, if, as we've kind of theorized here, it's just an extension, then A, 2021 is believable, and then B, I think that it being cross-gen is a little more palatable in a sense. I don't know. Like to me, it would be kind of like Miles Morales. Like, there's no reason to be upset about that because it's not the next full big deal. Yes, Jared.
So I definitely think Ragnarok is be coming out next year. If not, it'll get delayed maybe once, pushed till spring 2022. But here's the thing: that's not the only project they got going on right now.
True. Yeah,
We're gonna hear something really special coming up this year from Sony Santa Monica about Corey's the other big, nice, fancy project that he's been dying to do for a long time. And he could finally do it. So I'm excited. So I think they're definitely going to try to push Ragnarok out first, and be like, okay, here's Ragnarok, and then we got this other game for you to look forward to for another year or two afterwards as well.
I can see that. I can see that. That makes sense.
My only argument point with the whole it being a half-step game is I think if PlayStation wants to delve into that hole, they've got to be really careful with it, because as a fan, I don't want a game every 2.5 years if I get a piecemeal game in the middle. You can do a spin-off game where it makes sense. Miles Morales makes sense because they're setting up Miles, because they teased Miles at the end. They set up Miles for Spider-Man 2. I'm fine with that. But if they start doing that with every single IP they own, they can't Lost Legacy everything. And I don't want them to. And argument's sake is I know for a fact, because it was even said by Sony Santa Monica official after God of War came out, they almost immediately went back to work. Corey wasn't the head of that team anymore. And Corey even said that this is the guy that took over the project. And he said that in early 2018. So this game's been in development for almost 2.5, 3 years. And even Corey himself said, well, the game, we had to do a lot of legwork and to create the game, but the next game will be a lot easier because the groundwork's already there. So I think if it's releasing in 2021, it's a full game. I don't think they can piecemeal and candy step it. I think if they piecemeal and candy step it, I'll piss a lot of people off, because you can't wait 4 years. So 2021 will be almost 3.5 years to do a piecemeal step game. With Marvel's Spider-Man, that came out of nowhere because we got Spider-Man in like fall 2018, and we're getting another one in fall 2020. Like that came out of nowhere. No one was expecting that. No one wants a half step in God of War. With Spider-Man,
I actually do, but I'm being a contrarian jerk. I get that. I understand. I get what you're saying. And that's, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'll say that. It's going to be very interesting. They've got a couple of different ways they can handle this.
Yeah, because Corey did, when he was like broached on the subject, he did mention like flat out that there were no plans for a DLC, right?
Yeah, that they wanted to originally, but then they looked at it and see what they wanted to do, and we're like, wow, okay, that's a little bit too much, a little bit too ambitious. So they just took that and moved it on to the next game. That's my understanding. Then they just said, you know what, let's not focus on DLC. Let's just focus on the next game and not screw around.
That's correct, and they do. That's correct, Jared. And they absolutely do have a solid plan. I think arguably more so than anyone else, because Corey, if you watch the Raising Kratos documentary, I think it's in that, or was it in their Talk with Kind of Funny? It's in one of the two. The stuff runs together. He mentions how they got so excited when they were plotting the story of the game out. They actually got to the point where, and I think he was probably talking about the confrontation with Thor, where they got so excited there was stuff they were like, whoa, we have to pull this out. This is actually too much. We can't fit this all into one game. We're going to have to remove a big chunk of this stuff, and then we'll go forward.
Yeah, they didn't want to sacrifice anything. Like, nah, screw it. That's just, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Which, again, I would counter, Nick, is one of the main reasons I can see a piecemeal half step after that game. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
No, because I'm sorry. Comic book fans are the only nerds that'll pay for half steps. No one else in the video game industry will pay for half steps. It's only comic book fans. They're like, a new comic book story. If it wasn't a superhero one, everyone would be like, meh. It's because it's Miles. If it wasn't Miles, there would not be nearly as much hype behind this. This is hype because this is people's favorite hero that has been neglected in the Marvel Universe for God knows how long. And the gameplay is great, and they crafted new things around Miles. You can't just do that with every other game. It was the same problem I had with Lost Legacy. Lost Legacy was a fantastic game because it told a completely off-topic story from the main game. You can't piecemeal a story to another story. Only comic book fans will put up with that.
You know, just to screw you, I hope every single studio is doing a smaller spin. I hope Days Gone, the next one, is a small spin-off. I hope that what is it, Pixelopus? I hope freaking Concrete Genie 2 isn't even a full sequel.
Oh my god, piecemeal
DLC. I hope Baldur's Gate 3 stays in early access and is only 20 hours long for the rest of its days.
I just want you to be wrong. I need you to know that. I just need you to be wrong.
Yeah, I know, because I'm generally always right and it pains people. I get it. But moving on to things that I really don't care about.
I'm sorry, Nick. I wanted to push out one more thing about the Jim Ryan interview, which I thought was pretty cool and pretty interesting. I wouldn't say cool, but interesting was how he mentioned some of the emails that he gets from fans, in particular, and what that kind of like means to him, like getting somebody who maybe like in their 50s, like emailing him about what the PlayStation legacy means to them, and they're getting back into gaming, and even getting emails from younger fans and stuff. And reading that kind of part of it, we get like the tech parts of it and what it means for games and everything. But I'm gonna constantly mention the bubble. We kind of do this thing where we pit execs against each other, like who's better, who's good, who's bad, who's evil. And I know Don Matrick will always live in infamy. There's no saving that guy from is in general when fans talk about it, but you hear that kind of side of it, and it kind of painted a little bit more of a picture. Like, it does mean something to him, because I know Jim comes off a lot colder than someone like Phil. And again, I think that a part of that is there's no social media presence, and it's kind of, we kind of think of it like the Lex Luthor of gaming in some ways. But in reading that whole article, it was a lot of it was just really interesting to kind of get into his head and pick his brain and kind of see where things are. I'm not saying that he's not cold and calculated. I'm just saying, but it shows that, sometimes we can be pretty cold in the social media space. And I always say that there's somebody on the other end. So, it's not always fair. Sometimes it's the role that you move into, and you get the passionate side, but you also get the trolling side of it. But there is somebody, you look for those little warm moments where you actually want to know that they care about what's going on and what they're doing and who they're doing it for, And I'm not saying, that he's on the level like Phil, because Phil is the gamer. I don't know what Jim's gaming history is. I don't know how much of a gamer he is, but there just seem to be these little differences and sparks, and you can kind of see some of the shifts that they're making. And they probably have a long way to go of things to tie back in. But even going back to just seeing when they talked about the pre-order debacle, I've never seen them address anything like that and say, yeah, we goofed on that one, and hopefully we're going to get it right, type of thing. So those little sparks, you just kind of look for some human warmth, I guess, so to speak.
Well, and see, here's my thing. I will, if Jim Ryan does another couple of interviews and he rings off like this, I will give him full credit for it. But until now, I just think he got a really good PR person for that particular interview, because it was a complete tone change from anything he's done the past 4 years. And that's fine. If they can make Jim Ryan more likable, then give whoever that PR person is a raise, because he is cold and calculated by the numbers, which is fine. He's such a stark contrast to everyone they've had before, whether it be Tretton or Layden, or even like when Yoshida used to talk a lot more. Like, he's just such a stark contrast to previous leadership or previous figureheads. But Ryan's gonna Ryan, and I'm glad they're finally trying to make him more personable, because I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't really think any of these guys are bad guys, except Matrick. Fuck Matrick.
But I still say it was like you said, it could be PR. It was an interesting interview from top to bottom, the different things that were being talked about. But I'll always keep the same mantra: all execs are there to do a job, and they're going to tell you the things that you need to hear to, again, separate you from your wallet.
And and to close out the will God of War be on PS4 or PS5? I think it's a really simple answer. I don't freaking know, because Demon's Souls was in development. It's supposed to be out on PS4 for like 2 goddamn years, but it's a PS5 only game. So you really can't guess, correct? Well, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about the fact that after it's on PS5 for 6 months, they're gonna go, "Hey, here's a PS4 version," but we'll get to that.
I just want that PC port.
I think a PC port is more likely than a PS4.
I'm just thinking about that other console that we had in a slide that apparently was an accident.
Give me that PC port, you bastards.
It's coming.
I do agree with Robo, though. I think Herman Hull should be doing more talking.
Yes,
I like him.
Herman's a cool guy. Herman's a really cool guy. When I heard he was taking over studios and Yoshida was going after indies, I was very happy about that. Herman is a really, really smart guy.
Yeah.
But
who did Yoshida piss off, man? They did him like the dude from Office Space, man. Just
I know it looks like that. I know we joke about it. Honestly, I think Yoshida's just tired.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, his girls are getting older. They're probably having to think about college savings now, which is crazy, but they have to think about that kind of stuff. He's been doing this a long time. He's probably eager to just be like, a job where instead of having to manage this global network and competition and what are we slating for when, let me just talk to indie creators and get them what they need and get them the resources and sit around talking about games all day. Honestly, couldn't blame him. If that's like thinking, even if it's like a small pay cut, that's probably a way less stressful job. Whereas Herman is comparatively, a young man. He manages Guerrilla well, makes perfect sense for him to sort of step up onto the scene.
But
it's funny. It's funny, Eric. Don't get me wrong.
I'm just making light of it. There's nobody he pissed off, because in the Japanese culture, it's very much a respect thing. Like, even, they let you walk away and leave when you're ready. They'll never, typically just throw you out the door. They'll find you like a nice position, a nice spot, somewhere to be. It's like a respect thing. And so I think, Shu's probably, very happy. Just kind of not having to be like out in the forefront. Excuse me. And so this is we're just joking.
Well, and also I would note that something that we saw a lot of in 2018 and early 2019, a lot of indie developers going, we just can't get a hold of PlayStation. They freaking suck to communicate with. A lot of that feedback has now disappeared, and I think having someone like Yoshida at the forefront of indies, that's why communication doesn't suck, because that dude is having ramen with every freaking indie developer person or whatever. I cannot follow that man on Twitter for the longest time, because I was like, you're having too much fun. I want to have this much fun at work.
Those ramen bowl pictures he posts, they make me so hungry. I want some, man. They look delicious. Oh, just, it's not fair.
Yeah,
I need that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And shocking surprise, because everything's getting a TV series adaptation because The Witcher did it, so now everyone needs to do it. We're getting an Assassin's Creed series.
The movie wasn't enough.
Oh God, I forgot the movie was real.
Hey.
Was
Poor
that with like
Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna put the edgy opinion out here first. If they do any of the Animus garbage in the series, I'm out. But if what they do is they take a season and focus on one section of history and follow one assassin, and then do a different season and do a different assassin, I'm all on board for that. But if they do any of this Animus garbage, I'm just turning it off. I can't stand. It's like the biggest thing that kills me with modern Assassin's Creed stills. They killed that storyline in Brotherhood. They fucked it up, and they still like Animus.
Yeah.
But Jared, you're a big Assassin's Creed guy. So what do you think? Do you want a series? Is this something you were like?
Yeah, you know what? A little bit, yeah. I think after seeing recently what they've done with, like, especially initially with Castlevania, that kind of seemed to kickstart a lot of what they're currently doing with video game adaptations. That to me initially started building my faith into Netflix, is thinking, okay, they can actually maybe do something really good with a video game storyline. Then The Witcher came along, and like you guys know, I was kind of iffy on that one because I didn't think. What's his face? Fifth Rock. I can't even remember his name. Wow, shame on me. Anyways, I didn't think he looked well for the role. Then after watching it, I completely changed my opinion, and it's an incredible show. Freaking love it. So I hope they will have the same focus and attention to detail and passion that they have with The Witcher going into Assassin's Creed. But sorry to burst your bubble, there probably is going to be Animus crap in there. It's just it's so heavily embedded into the story and still such a large part of the lore that they kind of can't have it without like separate from the Assassin's Creed universe anymore. But the worst part is they still technically could, because they could just focus on the assassins and that'd be fantastic. But no, they it's Assassin's Creed, so they have to have that stupid Animus bull crap in there. And yeah, I'm like you. I'm tired of the Animus stuff. But knowing them, it's gonna be in there. I guarantee you, it's gonna be in the Valhalla stuff as well when that comes out soon. And I don't think we're gonna be rid of it because they can't tackle the damn story aspect for that right.
Just give me an Assassin's Creed 4 themed series where it's a pirate. It's John Bernthal as the assassin, and I am good for the entire thing. That's all I want.
No.
And he needs to have a southern accent. Needs to have the southern accent just to absolutely mind everyone.
This is what we need to do. And Assassin's Creed needs to go back to in two places. One is feudal Japan, at the height of the clan empire, so of the clans and all the rivalries between there. So you travel along mainland Japan, and you got 28, 30 different territories, and they're all different clans vying for territory and whatnot. It worked well in Assassin's Creed Odyssey when you had the Athenians and the Trojans fighting over land, and you can actually sway which sections of land. I think that would work really well in that kind of landscape. And going back into ancient China as well, maybe during the time of the height of the Mongolian Empire, when the Mongolian Empire was invading China or trying to invade China, and you're defending your homeland. And I think that'd be absolutely fantastic if they could tackle an Assassin's Creed Chinese story. But that's
I would be so incredibly mad if they did the things that I want them to do in the games in the series first. I think I would be so incredibly mad. But Sam, what about you? AC series, maybe depending on casting.
Netflix has more hits than misses with their video game series.
Yeah,
so I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Witcher they knocked it out of the park against expectations. I'm one of those people that I was like, don't know, not sure about this. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. Castlevania. We've all raved and ranted about how good Castlevania is. Castlevania is just magnificent how they've adapted that, and it's taking on a life of its own. Most of their video game stuff has been really good. Dragon's Dogma, I don't know if you guys have seen that, is kind of the lone exception. I think it's very... Yeah, it's the weakest. it's the weakest by far, in my personal opinion. I think
Based on a weak game, so what can you do?
Oh wow!
Don't
is
let
so
WoW.
weird.
Yeah. There goes your connection with Evolve, man. Like,
The hair on his neck just stood up straight. And there's another Canadian he needs to hunt down somewhere. Like he knows.
he's grabbing the rifle out of his cabinet right now. He's just like, I know there's some.
Have you seen It Follows? Have you seen the horror movie It Follows? You're gonna walk out on the street and he's just gonna be like there. Just you hear the horrifying music playing. He's just steady step coming after you.
Yeah, see, that actually terrifies me because he only lives like 2.5 hours from me, so it's very possible he could murder me in my sleep.
That's what you get from living in Ontario.
Justin, I see you said in the chat you've heard it straight up sucks. It's, how do I put this? I don't want to spoil it if anyone here hasn't seen it. The Dragon's Dogma show is one of the most mean-spirited pieces of fiction I've ever watched, and I watch Black Mirror. Okay? Like, it's very... insulting and degrading aren't the right words. It's very, hey, the worst thing you think will happen, that won't happen. It's gonna be worse, and it's all your fault because humans are bad. And I know that sounds funny, but I'm watching. I'm like, this is mean. This feels very mean. I don't know how to say it without spoiling it, but if you choose to forego it, you're not missing anything. You're really not. It's the lone exception to. I
agree.
To their stuff. Otherwise, I think Netflix has done very well with their video.
Sam, and that's very telling because if you kind of look at how some of these things, ebb and flow, the ones that are like that hit and they're hot, that's all everybody talks about, right? The ones that are sort of fizzle, like initially, like you'll see when it launches, it's like, hey, and then all of a sudden it just kind of falls off of a cliff. And I think back to Dracula. Like when they first announced they were doing the Dracula series on Netflix, everyone was like, "What? That's awesome!" And then I was like, "I haven't heard no one talk about this for and for good reason, from what I understand, anyway." So yeah, sort of that thing. But no, other than that, yeah, the things that hit, they're on point with it. So I will always be open to a video game thing hitting something like a Netflix or an Amazon or whatever, because video games inherently are not 2-hour and we're done things.
Yeah,
they lend themselves. Yeah, they lend themselves better to television than anything else. So yeah, but unfortunately, too, I think like Jerry, I think the anime stuff might end up in there because it is sort of tied in. But they could do the exception to where we're doing the events that led to the reasons why we had to do the Animus thing. So maybe it's a thing where the Animus thing doesn't actually happen until the series is actually done, and then they show that we had to go back and pull all this information.
Or they just put it in the like first 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes of the first episode and just get it out of the way, and that's it. And then maybe a little bit at the end, and that's it. That'd be nice.
Beginning and ended, or something like that, and just keep it moving.
I would be totally okay with that.
Yeah. So yeah. Just don't make that the thing. And I think that's where the movie went wrong, because the Assassin's Creed parts of the movie were actually really good.
Yeah. It was the modern age crap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those snippets are good. The problem is the movie was like, okay, we're going to keep flashing back to the Amazon. It's like, y'all, we get it. We get it. We got it 5 times ago. We get it for the next 5 times. Like, we understand the concept. I know they had to hammer it in for people who haven't played the games, but people who've played the games are your main audience. That's one thing. And then B, on top of that, after the 5th time, I'm pretty sure anyone understands what's going on here.
Right.
So yeah, if in the incredibly unlikely event you're listening, Netflix, don't make that mistake. Listen to Jared. Jared had a very good idea for how this. Yeah.
Dan says entire show Animus.
No.
I think it should be in the lab. The whole show just in the lab.
Like screw you, Dan.
Playing
you know what, Dan?
Assassin's Creed.
You know what, Dan? I don't care. You bought those $40 in Anthem microtransactions.
Ooh.
Anthem will be the next one to get a Netflix
we have
show.
to get Dan on here to defend himself.
Hey,
we can't just roast Dan like this.
Eric, that might actually work. Just saying.
No, because you know what? You'll just sit in the theater for 6 hours because it won't end. They don't know how to write the ending.
Yeah.
But
Unfortunately.
moving
we
right
got
along.
to get Dan on here so Jared and Dan can like hit back at us for everything that has happened with Anthem. We got to give them a chance here.
Hey, Jared, I bought it for $5 to get that steelbook. That steelbook is awesome. I'll still maintain that.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with a digital copy that I bought on launch day.
I know, man. I'm sorry.
20 freaking bucks.
I'm sorry.
Well, at least 2.0's coming.
Can we talk about more entertaining than Anthem?
Oh, actually,
this is depressing.
actually, we can, because little did you know that this week is going to be filled with the discourse. And the discourses, of course, they're remaking a From Software game. So we have the argument about accessibility versus beating your dick with a claw hammer. So here we go, folks.
Oh, God. Here we are.
So Demon Souls, they got some more details on that if you're a sadomasochistic person. The game looks gorgeous. I have to admit, it is the most stunning game on PlayStation 5, and I cannot wait for all the forums to fill up with people going, oh my God, I bought this action game, and it's so hard, and I don't know what to do. I can't get past the first area. But yeah, no, it's get down with the discourse. I'm always down with the discourse. So tons of cool stuff about Demon Souls came out, about things they're changing, things they're not changing. Of course, From Software nerds were like, how dare you change the game? And some were like, hey, these are good quality of life improvements. And of course, I think going forward, every time a From Software game is either remade or a new one comes out, we are going to see the conversation evolve around difficulty modes. And I believe, and I know Sam will fact check me if I'm wrong, I believe the creative director at Blue Point had something to reiterate about what's that, sorry?
Japan Studio. Japan Studio is like doing oversight while Blue Point is doing most of the work. The creative director of the game is actually in Japan.
Okay. But he said this game doesn't need a difficulty mode, and well, it plunged the internet into a discourse upon a discourse upon a discourse. I have no cock in this fight. Because even if there's an easy mode, I don't think I'd enjoy these games. But as I'm filled with a panel of FromSoft nerds,
yeah.
Would you? How do I phrase this question? What did you guys think of what we saw? We got 5-6 minutes of solid new gameplay of a boss that apparently has a lot of historic value with this particular game. I would not know. Trying to speak out of my arse here because I know nothing about Demon Souls. They went over some quality of life improvements and changes, and now we have this conversation about should these games have difficulty modes, and does it affect the game if there is difficulty modes? So with all that fleshed out, one of you guys can go first, and I'm gonna mute myself and enjoy the discourse.
Oh boy. All right, who wants to go first?
Yeah. This is a heavy topic. I have some things to say, but not just about the accessibility difficulty debate. So if anyone else wants to go first, please do, because my thing is going to be a very long spiel as a result.
You can jump in because I'm sort of like in between you and Jared when it comes to the From thing. Like I never played Demon Souls. Like I came late to the party with like the first Dark Souls. And when it comes to this discourse, I'm like, people are just because I'm looking at the whole thing about ray tracing and the whole nine. I was like, everybody just shut up. But go ahead, Sam, have at it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So specifically accessibility and difficulty. I was disappointed by the creative director's statements because we went through this with Sekiro. We'll go through it here again. I understand brutal difficulty is the vision of the game. That doesn't have to change. But you can do things to accommodate for disabilities. You can do things to accommodate for accessibility. If people simply do not have, the nerves in their hands, the reaction time necessary, like you can have an accessibility mode. All right, that's just the way I feel about this stuff. And I beat Sekiro. So if anyone wants to challenge my credentials on the games or whatever, like I spent 8 hours facing down the Sword Saint, and my God, that game. So anyways, I've beaten every game up till now. So, with that said, that's the way I feel about that. I'm disappointed they've taken that route. As to the other thing, and Nick, you kind of hit at this. There is this thing, and I'm a Souls bro. I'm absolutely a Souls bro, but there is this thing where, FromSoft's every moment and every vision is held sacred, and it's like, y'all, this is a 2009 PS3 game that was made on a shoestring budget. It's objectively okay for a remake to improve things. Like, yeah, there are actually people mad the soundtrack has been re-recorded in a proper studio with a proper orchestra. And it doesn't sound low quality anymore. And it's like, y'all, come on.
Sam, there can be, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just have to say that there can be such a thing as being too much of a goddamn nerd.
Yeah,
no, there
I was just like, but it's sticking to the past, too, the nostalgia.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Jared. It's nostalgia. People have like thick Coke bottle times 2
right.
glasses when it comes to this game. I love this game. There's a reason it's a cult classic, but y'all, parts of it suck. That's just like it's okay. Like, I've seen people argue that the loading time being near instantaneous is a bad thing because you're not being punished when you die anymore. And it's like, y'all, come on.
Wait,
I realize the
wait
loading
time
was part of the punishment.
to respawn, that's the bad part? It's not losing your souls and having to do
right, exactly. So I will actually say my irritation with Blue Point is that they didn't go further. I actually wish they had changed more just because it would make these people unhappy. Like, they talked about how they're not restoring the 6th Archstone, which is the infamous cut content, the Land of the Giants. It was an infamous realm. It was supposed to be finished. FromSoft couldn't finish it in time, so they just broke the Archstone, and that's the reason why you can't access it in-game. Blue Point isn't restoring that, and I'm a little disappointed because I figured, like, hey, this would have been a good time for Blue Point to show they can go above and beyond. With Shadow of the Colossus, they, to me, proved that they understood developer intent and they could recreate it to a perfect 1-to-1, to a perfect T. I think this would have been a good opportunity for Blue Point to step a little bit beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little disappointing. It is what it is. They're fixing the bugs. Obviously, like game-breaking bugs or exploits or glitches. They're going to fix that kind of stuff, which is cool. I think they're rebalancing the healing items because anyone who doesn't know, in Demon Souls, there's a loadout system that the other games don't have where actually you can get over-encumbered. Like in Skyrim, if you've ever been over-encumbered, that can happen in Demon Souls too. And so they're making some of the healing items weigh a lot more so that you're not munching like 99 perfect half moon healing grasses or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. That's rebalancing stuff out. That's totally fine. Again, I actually think Blue Point could have gone further than they did. With all of that said, let me make it abundantly clear that I am hyped out of my mind for this game because, my God, it looks good. Like, you all watched the gameplay footage, right? You all saw the new trailer and all that, and you've seen the trailers before that. Like, God, this game looks next level. The texture detail, the animations, the fact it's a near perfect 60 FPS. It's one of the best looking upcoming games, as far as I'm concerned. I cannot wait to dive in on it.
Yeah, it was one of the few games to me that looks actually next gen. Not actually next gen, but it looks next gen to me, and it's just mwah, mwah. So good.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's my long spiel. I warned you it was a long spiel. I'm done.
That's okay. It's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll go. I've always been conflicted about the subject because part of me goes, yeah, it's the experience of that difficulty and overcoming obstacles that you felt weren't achievable but actually are, and it's the whole trials and tribulations. You overcome something that is extremely difficult and you succeed and you feel immensely good about yourself, and you just like I can go into a lot more into I like deeper meaning, stuff like that, but I also see the aspect where you want to have those accessibility options. So lots of other people who want to play it, who want to experience, who want to finally be able to play one of those games from start to finish, or even get past the starting area. It would be nice to see those people enjoy the game too, because I love those games. I've never played Demon's Souls, so this is the only From Software game I haven't played in the Souls universe. And I'm really looking forward to eventually get into it. If it does eventually come to PC, or whenever I do end up getting a PlayStation 5, I'm really excited to dive into it. And I'm looking forward to the difficulty, but at the same token, I'm also one of those people who I like the difficulty, but I haven't beaten Sekiro because of the difficulty. And I can see why people might want to have that accessibility option. So I'm the 50-50 person. I have books I've read that have gone through the development process and what has happened and the ideas and the thoughts and reasons why these games are the way they are. And I have to agree that not really agree, just be conflicted about this, because I can see why the games are designed the way they are. And it's nice that they are that way, because if that difficulty was anything easier, I don't think I would be as attached to those games as I currently am, if that makes any sense. Like, it was just that little bit extra of difficulty where it challenges you, but it's not too much. If you really, it's not really focusing or paying attention. It's just learning to adapt and think on your feet and willing to relearn and just learn from your struggles and your mistakes and just like trial and error. It's experimenting in a video game for stuff. And I don't know, it's one of the things where it can teach someone so much about themselves with the difficulty, but at the same time, it restricts people at the same time. And I don't know. I'm 50-50. I'm conflicted. I might be a little bit of an asshole being part of the whole. Yeah, I kind of agree with the difficulty should stay, but there should also be the option, I guess.
No, as long as it's part of a discussion, I don't think that makes you a jerk or anything. It's like, as long as you understand, like, I think there's a reason why people who aren't as able as you or I want to be able to play them.
Yeah.
And that's just something to consider. That is just something to keep in mind.
Absolutely. And not just that, but like, if you do give them that option, that easier difficulty option could be at their level, the standard difficulty option in Demon's Souls. So, for example, me playing Demon's Souls normally or whatever, okay, yeah, that's difficult for me, but it's not too difficult. If someone with a disability issue playing it on easy or very easy could have that same type of difficulty, but on that level.
Exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Yeah. That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, because it doesn't need to really change some of the mechanics of the game. You can just make it where maybe some of the hits don't automatically, like like Sam said, some of the reaction time can be adjusted, or maybe some of the hits, you're not insta killed or something like that. You get an opportunity.
Lesser damage, increase the invincibility frames for the dodging and whatnot. Do a little bit more of an attack lead before they do their big, for like bosses or enemies or whatnot. There's always a sign for when they're going to attack for whatever move they're going to end up doing, and usually there's a small tell. Do that, maybe if it's like a second long, make it 2-3 seconds long, so it's really obvious, so they can move or adjust to do what they need to do, sort of thing. There's lots of little things that they could probably tweak to where it's not going to deter the experience, but yeah, Friday, nice one.
Yeah, and I see like in the chat, Sekiro almost killed me.
I think it almost killed everybody.
Going for that platinum almost killed me.
Oh, I
Sekiro is, there's From Soft games, and then there's Sekiro.
Yeah,
like Sekiro is another level of.
That's a whole.
Yeah. And I would say, if you've gone for the platinum or going for it, the second form of Owl Father is up there. That and Sword Sting, they can both go to hell. Because you guys remember, like I said, guys, I don't know if I'm gonna get this platinum.
Man,
I don't know if I'm gonna do this.
I don't know how you got it, because I'm not past the Owl.
And I remember. Yeah, exactly. and I remember being like, because I think, Jared, did you finish the game before me, or did I finish it first? I'm trying to remember
which one.
Who Sekiro. I'm trying to remember.
I never
who
finished the game. I'm stuck
Okay,
on
you finished it.
on
You
Owl
did before
Shinobi.
me before,
I'm
yeah.
stuck on Owl Shinobi,
Okay.
man.
Oh, okay.
That guy's
Okay, yeah, I don't
mean.
blame you, but Eric, I remember being like, dude, I don't blame you, but also I just need you to understand what's coming. Like you need to know what's right around the bend. That game is brutal, man. That game is brutal.
That will give you gray hair. That game will make you age a couple years.
Yeah,
Just
which
think.
is why I see people like who finally beat it losing their mind because I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Because I told you guys when I beat Sword Saint finally, it came down to me or him hitting each other last. And you know what that means.
Yep.
When you miss that and he gets you, you're like, I gotta do all of this again.
Yeah. I
don't know if the
20
next
minutes.
run is going to go as well as for me to get to this point again. So when you get that red dot in that last, you're like, I just did it. I just did it.
The heart attack happens.
There's something about these games, man. You're not doing it right if you don't have sweaty palms and your hands are shaking like your heart's beating a mile a minute.
Because I'm not willing to throw that controller through like a window and through two walls, maybe at the same time.
Dude, I kid you not, man. Like I have like my Apple Watch on. I checked my heart rate after like that fight, and my heart rate was like ridiculous. Like I was doing cardio.
Minutes.
I'll blame you, man. I could not stop shaking. My palms went full sweat. Could not stop sweating on my hands, and my hands were like.
That was me after.
Just okay.
The monkey boss. That was me after that monkey boss. It was just like, oh my god, that was intense because that's hard.
I saw someone on my timeline this week saying that they were facing Guardian Ape and it wasn't going well, and I'm like, I feel you.
Yeah.
You know what? Why don't you guys just normal people? Jesus Christ, if I want my heart to pound and my palms to sweat, I just do drugs.
Like your body's sweating. You're like, oh, I just felt like I just did like a fucking 5-kilometer marathon. Yeah. Cocaine specifically.
Drugs. I'm still buying the Demon Souls when you get the PS5. You're not escaping this. You're not getting away.
We'll make sure of it.
Well, no. See, my game plan is to establish such a brand I'm bad at these games that someone will pay me $1,000 to beat it.
But I like the mechanic change in Sekiro, like as far as what am I looking at? Endurance and things like that. How that whole played out. But yeah, man, that parrying, you're like. Orange bar. You're like,
hey, you remember that conversation we had on an old episode where we said before Sekiro came out, we were like, yeah, this seems way more accessible than Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, I remember.
And let's walk that one back.
Good times.
Bloodborne is more accessible.
I can't really contribute anything in terms of FromSoft related stuff, but what I can contribute and what I have knowledge in is what very, very difficulty means and what you can do to support players in different situations, whether it be skill-based, handicapped, or accessibility issues. And I think a game that does it absolutely brilliantly is Doom Eternal. Because, man, if you're sitting there going, this game ain't hard, slap that bitch on Ultra Violence and try to play that game. Because that game will slap you around silly and make you...
Challenge accepted.
Exactly. Like, if you ain't playing it on PC, play Ultra Violence with a controller.
See, that's the thing. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's my vice grip, Nick.
But that's the thing. It's like it'd be like if I was a Doom player and I told Sam, you didn't really beat Doom Eternal because you didn't beat it on Ultra Violence. Fuck me, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, if you say that to me, because I just beat the Ancient Gods DLC, so if you say that to me, I'm driving up to Canada and taking the crowbar to you.
Joke's on you.
But the thing is, it's like it did a lot of things that made it more accessible. Like you can talk about the fact that cheat codes are enabled. You can enable cheat codes to you can literally coast through Doom Eternal with cheat codes, as well as Sentinel armor. Doesn't like I think except for Ultra Violence mode, if you die a bunch of times on the same boss, it'll go, "Hey, here's something that absorbs lot of the damage. We'll put this on for you if you want to enable it," and it's optional. And if that's how
I can do it,
yeah. Like there's people like me. They're like, fuck no, I can do this. Yeah. And then after about 30 more tries, we go, yeah, give me the Sentinel armor.
Oh, this is still taking the Sentinel armor and still failing another 30 tries.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. That doesn't take anything away from the game. You don't even have to accept the Sentinel armor. It gives it to you if it sees you struggling. You're like, hey, do you want a leg up here? If not, it's okay. But you got the option. Like, that's not a bad thing.
It did a brilliant statement on it because someone after the Ancient Gods came out, they're like, this game isn't accessible. And id Software literally replied to the person and said, turn on cheat codes and stop whining. Because they're all unlocked for the DLC. Every one of them's unlocked from the start. Just turn them on and go. No one's going to sit there. There will be people, because I can't speak for everyone on the goddamn internet. There are people that difficulty shame, but they're nerds and they jerk off into tube socks. You don't listen to them. They don't matter and they're irrelevant.
Yeah.
Play the game the way you want to play it. If you want to sweat profusely, shake, vibrate, convulse, and do other things, do it that way. If you just want to coast and enjoy a game and enjoy the set pieces, enjoy the story, do it. It's the same thing as I really think Uncharted on Crushing is a terrible fucking game. You can't enjoy Uncharted on Crushing. It's not enjoyable to me.
I made the mistake with Uncharted 4 doing Crushing first.
Yeah, no. I play through that game on normal, and then I'll do Crushing because I want to enjoy the game, enjoy the set pieces, enjoy the story, and then Crushing, I will forehead slam myself off the desk in the ship graveyard multiple times.
Yeah.
But
I was like, why did I do this?
Yeah, basically. Question your existence through the whole thing.
But difficulty gating pisses me off, like in the community at times, man. Because it's like, what do you care? Like, okay, so you like to be kicked in the nuts over and over again for a challenge. Like, you know, there are certain games I know what I'm getting into when I jump into them. Some games I don't play games on easy, but normal is fine for me sometimes. It's like I just want to enjoy it, and maybe later if I decide I want to run through it again, then I'll bump up the difficulty. Sometimes you don't want to do that. But it doesn't. I don't understand how it makes you feel better to shame someone else for not playing it on the most ultra difficult, portion of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. It's sort of like saying like shaming somebody because they can't dunk a basketball, or they don't. So what? Who cares?
Oh yeah, it's
Let people enjoy things.
Yeah, I can dunk a basketball, but I cannot shoot a 3-pointer or a free throw to save my life.
I can't do
You
anything.
can shoot a 9-pointer though.
Oh, Sam, we gotta take you back to the playground, son. Shaq can shoot 9
from the other side of the court.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
I'm trying to think who the guy. Who was it from IGN? He tweeted a couple of weeks ago that he's been running through a bunch of games on easy mode and it's been like the best decision that he's made. And I remember it turned into like a whole drag fest. Like people were just coming at him like how dare you call yourself a gamer and you're putting games on easy? It's like, well, there's an easy mode there for a reason.
Well, let me tell you this: when you get a game 3 days before embargo and it's a 40-hour game, you don't want to be crushingly difficult and add an extra 20 hours to the experience.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm a huge fan of instead of doing just stock difficulty modes, give me a bunch of modifiers to change. What I loved about Watch Dogs Legion was it was like, hey, set your difficulty. And then, do you want permadeath? I was like, you know what? I want normal and I want permadeath. That's dope. Because if you want to play hard and have permadeath, cool. If you want to play hard without permadeath, that's cool. Options. Literally, options don't take away from the experience. And I could not understand if I actually beat a Dark Souls game. If I turned to my friend and was like, oh, I beat Dark Souls. He's like, oh, we have a whole discussion about it. And we never talk about what difficulty mode we played it on. Who cares? That's just where I'm at. But once again, not a FromSoft nerd. Never jerked off into a sock. Don't know what it's like. But we're going to move right along because Halo Infinite is infinitely in the news for all the infinitely bad reasons. And
Say it one more time.
Infinite. I'll be doing Halo Infinite ASMR after this live stream. So Chris Lee, who has been with 343 since 2008, I believe, has been pulled off or has stepped down from or stepped away from working on Halo Infinite. He is still working for Microsoft Game Studios, but he is no longer working on Halo Infinite. Which, considering all the shuffle rounds and things we've seen with Staten coming back and everything else, it leaves a lot of questions about what's going on with Halo. And I'm really feeling confident about my prediction about saying that, when they said Halo Infinite's coming 2021, I'm really thinking holiday 2021 and not spring 2021.
Damn.
So let's talk about Halo first. I'm just here to sip tea here at this point.
I think I said this. Sorry, if Eric or Jared, if you want to go.
No, go ahead, Sam.
First. I was just going to say, I think I said this in our group chat, and so I'll say it again. I think with the combination of Staten coming back and being put into more of a creative role, maybe he's the full creative director now. He's definitely on the campaign is the point. I think, A, that's a decision that needed to happen. But I think, B, it's a decision that needed to happen a while ago, not just now, if that makes sense. It's not, how do I put this? It's a good thing, but why was this not done a while ago? Why are you only now making this change? Why are you only now revamping whatever you're revamping here, et cetera, et cetera? You guys know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Question, when did Chris get put on the project? I forget.
What, like Chris Lee?
Yeah.
He's been on every Halo project since
he's been there for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, 2008 he started.
That's what I thought. Okay. Because my thinking was maybe it came to a point where he signed a contract a long time ago and, hey, we need you to work all the way up until this point in time, finish up this game or whatever, and then that's it. You can choose to stay or go. Maybe at this point in time, this was the previously agreed ending date of his contract, because originally this is when Halo Infinite was supposed to be launching, right? Next generation. Series X is only, a little over a week away. It's not too far. Halo Infinite was supposed to be coming out and be finished. So if Halo Infinite was still set on track to be launching with the Series X, this might be a little bit different, because we know at the end of projects, project leads usually either take time away or leave and move on to something else or whatnot, or they will stay with that studio and continue on. Now, since Chris has been there for a long period of time, I'm thinking it might be like, okay, yeah, your 8-10-year contract or whatever, 5-year contract, whatever term he agreed upon has ended, and he's like, okay, you know what, I'm a bit tired of Halo, and I'm a bit tired of all the crap I had to deal with Infinite, so you know what, I'm going to stay with Microsoft because we've got lots of potential with other titles and IPs, but with Halo, I'm done. I'm going to step away, take a little bit of break, I'll come back, work with someone else with Microsoft. That's my thinking with it.
Your insight on the timing is actually a good point. I hadn't even considered that. This is basically when the game, in a week, in a little over a week, when the game would have been shipping.
So close.
Next gen is almost here. But at the same time, again, that changes when the conversation is this is no longer shipping alongside next gen.
Yes, absolutely.
Now shipping at some indeterminate point in 2021. So again, what does that look like? Does that mean it's now Staten? Is he going to be in charge of the studio? Is he just looking at the campaign? Is he looking at the campaign post-launch? Like, I have more faith in Staten, bluntly. Like I've said that before. I'll say it again. I don't have a problem with that. But why are you not saying what's going on there? Why? And if you aren't, then why didn't it happen a while ago? Like, I know that sounds a little bit ramble, but I think you guys understand what I'm getting at, and I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sure.
Yeah, I don't think they can say much right now currently, though, because it's not out yet. Like, of course, it's still under wraps, still got to work on it and stuff like that. And I think, of course, if it was a different story, if it was still on track to launch this time, we might know a lot more, and they might be a lot more open with communication and whatnot. But again, like, these are two whole different situations. Like right now, we have the Halo delay we have to deal with. So the narrative right now is what the hell is going on with Infinite. So, yeah, like, there's lots to think about. And, of course, I guess for me, this whole situation doesn't exactly build my faith in what's going on with Halo. I mean, Yeah, I don't think nothing really has. I don't think with anybody right now to build their faith in Halo since they've shown that gameplay.
Yeah. And if I can jump in there, that's
Yeah.
from when they showed Infinite. I think you guys, it's no secret that I was kind of like not on board from the moment. I'm like, something does not look right here. Something looks off. For I know some people were saying, well, it's the pandemic world, it's this and that. I'm like, no, they've had more time to have this together along to this point. And when they showed it, I was kind of like, this isn't sitting well. And then when we started hearing like the little rumblings, like from the Glassdoor interviews and things like that, or how people, with the contractors weren't really like happy. And then that's another thing, with the contract work, people coming in, coming out, it's hard to build a culture around that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Jared made some good points about what could be going on with Chris Lee, but it could be like the flip side of that too is like, what happened here? Now you need to sit down.
Yeah.
Now we need to fix this. And maybe the proper people didn't have their eyes on it. And they were kind of trusting and kind of saying, hey, it's been in your hands. Bonnie, you're here. You got this going on. And then they put it out, which I think I'm going to say this as like an old Xbox head. I don't think in an old regime that would have been shown. And it kind of felt like, who's protecting and taking care of Halo? People are out there already chipping at the armor saying Halo isn't what it once was. And that's what you led with.
Yeah.
And then now it's sort of like this thing where when I look at how, Phil and maybe Matt kind of look at things, I don't think they necessarily just come in and start going at the people who are in charge. They probably start asking questions of people involved and saying, what's going on here, right? So I don't think they're done. Personally, I don't think they're done making some shifts and some changes. I think we might get more information. I'm not saying this is like the barn's on fire, but it sounds like the foundation shifted to one side and we need to rebuild the foundation before we can even get to fixing this, because there is something that needs to be fixed with this game.
I'm not trying to cut you off, but again, that goes back to what I said about Staten. I don't think the timing there is any coincidence, and I don't think his role is as small as they're leading it to be, is what I'm trying to say. I think it's a lot more than what they're saying.
Yeah, which is what I felt when they first said he was coming back in. I'm like, you're making the shift now after this game was supposed to be day and date with your new console, and you've delayed it, which was smart. And you delayed it, and I'm kind of agreeing with Nick. I don't think we see this game until late next year. I don't know if it bleeds over even in 2022. I'd be okay with that. If you're going to come back with the Halo game that's going to blow our socks off, you take all the time you need at this point.
Yep.
Because this is for 343. This, to me personally, and I know other people say this too, this was your last shot to really show that you have control of Halo. Because I like Halo 4 as a campaign, and I know people are against the multiplayer on that. And then the reverse on Halo 5, I wasn't as enamored with the campaign, and people love the multiplayer. But it's like, this was your shot is your shot to show that you can deliver the full package of Halo.
Yep.
Right. And it does concern me. It concerns me that in ways that they're talking about, an ongoing thing, like a sort of I know the games as a service type thing or whatever, because we've seen examples, and I know it can work. You can make it happen, but we've seen examples of companies trying to take that on, and it doesn't necessarily go well. So there's a lot of nuance that happens in trying to deliver what your version of that is.
Yep, right. Absolutely. That's a big issue, I think, right now, too, is them going for that service look, because now it has to be 343 looking after that game for the next 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah. And the fact, too, that, they haven't really said what they're doing with Chris. They didn't really say what is this a demotion? Are they going to go ahead and put him on another project? Whatever the case may be. It just sort of sounds like, hang tight for a minute, buddy. We got some things to figure out.
It's. I don't like. How do I put this? Speculating when the human element is involved always it kind of leaves a distaste in my mouth, obviously. But I think the point is, like you said, Phil and Matt are asking questions like, okay, you have to trace it back to where does responsibility lie here? What's actually going on in terms of that? So I think that has to at least be a factor in some capacity of what's going on. And I don't know what that looks like moving forward. None of us do objectively, but it has to be a part of it, at least in terms of what's happened until now.
And I kind of feel, and I've talked about this on other podcasts, I kind of feel too, from some of the culture of things, I think they were fully prepared to still go with shipping Infinite this year.
Mhm.
And then when they started getting that feedback, and thank God they were listening to the minority, not some of the loudest ones who were kind of okay with it and telling other people to be quiet and all these other things. It's like, no, fans are speaking up because Halo means a lot to them. And, you know, some people were like, oh, it looks fine the way it is. Let's go. And then the minute they announced that they were delaying it, like, yeah, that's the best thing. And I'm like, wait, shut up, guys. Stop it. You know, so I'm glad they listened and said, no, we need to pull this, because they could have said, no, we're going to go with it and fix it as it goes. I don't think you do that with a Halo. I think that works fine with something like a Sea of Thieves as a new IP, and look where that game is now.
Yeah.
You know, where it started. But Halo's different.
Figuring itself out. Going on.
Right. Because there's no expectation. There's no expectation.
Right.
I mean, Sea of Thieves survived its memes and its goofs and everything else, and has gone on, you know, to be a valuable IP. But you can give that type of IP that time. Halo is tried and true over the years. You can't just play around with that. You have to nail it. And you have generations of kids who never even really played a Halo game but love Master Chief. That's a bow to how cool the franchise is.
Right.
It just speaks for itself. It's a space marine killing aliens. You got it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're trying to pull those kids in and say, well, I like this guy, Master Chief. I like the toys. All of that looks really cool. So now what is this game going to be? And I understand the whole idea of trying to navigate the world of multiplayer as we stand in that, because so much free to play is out there, but good free to play that really speaks to people. You can't really come in and be charging and doing all this other stuff. You've got to kind of figure your way into that.
Yeah.
So
and
right.
Honestly, and building on that, Eric, call me crazy, I have this weird feeling the multiplayer isn't where they're figuring things out. Just weird hunch. But in terms of what you're talking about, in terms of, you know, how the multiplayer landscape has shifted, like it has, I feel like they're in place on that, because what was all the messaging that came out afterwards? Like, oh yeah, multiplayer is 120 FPS. Oh yeah, we believe multiplayer should be for everyone. It's like that feels ready. And of course, I get that. I'm saying this without having actually seen a multiplayer match. We've seen multiplayer skins. We've seen them talk about their ideas. We haven't actually seen it. But I'm simply, in terms of the waters we've tread so far, I'm just looking at that.
No, I think you're not far off from that, because the way they did talk about it did sound that way. But it sounds like there's some things that are really tied into this thing together. You know, so I know it's been kind of floated out there again, that of the idea of them shipping separately things. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think when it comes to Halo, you need to have one package.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do like beta test or whatever beforehand, obviously that's fine. Obviously,
that's different.
There's no problem with doing a flighting test. There's no problem with like, hey, help us strain the servers beforehand, or a campaign demo. If you want to do that, that's fine. But as a package, Halo has always been like, you get the multiplayer, you get the campaign, and then ever since 3, you get Forge as well. That's the one that isn't talked about as much, but it is arguably just as important, because maybe not just as important. It's very important because it is determinant on like the game's post life, how the community gets involved, the types of stuff they make after that. You need the full package at launch, whenever proper launch is. You got to do that.
And I say, do what you got to do. I mean, you've delayed. Yeah, of course, the ad campaign stuff is all out there, but whatever. Again, if you deliver it, gamers have a short memory. They don't have a short memory when you come out and you drop the ball.
Exactly.
They have a short memory of you dropping the ball when you come back with something that they love.
Exactly. Get it right. Do it right. And also, when the Bethesda deal closes in a couple of months, you're going to have 23 teams. Let Halo step back. Figure it out, get it right, because there's other stuff filling the gaps. Like, thank God we have moved past 2017, but they aren't in this position anymore of it's Halo Gears Forza. It's Halo Gears Forza. Like, there are a lot of other things coming out on a regular basis, and there will be. So, and I think that like eases the. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, finish.
I was just going to say that I think that eases the pressure in the sense that. This is the key word. That's the asterisk mark. In the sense that, it doesn't have to be on a rigid schedule of getting it out.
And again, without us knowing all the ins and outs of what's going on in there with these new teams and these new studios, and maybe they'll do this. I'm just saying, I would be on the horn with the people who do the best at these things. I would be on the horn with id. I would be on the horn with Arcane. I would be on the horn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there's issues with campaign, if there's issues with this and that and tech, what's going on, give us some insight. Talk to us. Tell us what we can do with this, and you utilize that. And hopefully they will. I mean, that's just a spitballing,
No,
So,
I mean, I think legally speaking, they have to let it close first.
I get that part. I get that part.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, once it's done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Once it's done, like, please. Let them make their own games, but as far as me, dude, as far as I'm concerned, let id and Arcane touch whatever they want. Let them get in there.
Honestly, I'd be like, all hands on deck. We need help over here.
Well, you know what? With a brand new engine, too, that they made, it might be a good idea to get some help. Be like, hey, can you help us on the back end so we can make this engine a little bit better, too?
Yeah.
I mean,
all hands on deck, man.
The people who made id Tech 7, as far as I'm concerned, get id Tech 7 and the people who made it out to everyone.
Imagine Halo on that. Oh.
Yeah, I'm just saying, do whatever you got to do.
I know we're spitballing, but I'm on board with you, Eric. I get what you're saying.
Yep.
Nick, do we have any community questions? We rambled for a bit there.
What? Sorry. No, we don't. Not this week. No community questions this week. Yeah, no one bugged me this week. So
okay.
So if you guys are in the chat, you want to bug us with community questions, go right ahead. And you guys can drop questions now if you want to drop them now. We will have a next generation focused episode next week. We were going to have a discussion topic this week, but we ran long as hell in the tooth. And I work at 5 o'clock in the morning, so we ain't doing a discussion topic.
Fair enough. For whatever it's worth, the discussion topic is what game we're going to play at launch, and it's going to be Demon's Souls and Assassin's Creed Valhalla for me. So.
Hey, it'll be nice for you guys to finally catch up to me.
Fair enough. How is Legion going, Jared? I said I would ask you about this, so I got to ask you about this on the show. How is Legion going?
Playing Legion on the Series X. I understand if some people want to play it now at launch and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. Wait. Play on the Series X. It'll be smoother and it'll look better. And you'll have a better time. Trust me, because it looks damn good on my computer, and it's just like, you'll have fun.
Nice.
I can't wait. I'm already halfway through it.
Play it again. Got New Game Plus mode. We got online coming out on December 20th. There's going to be a shitload of stuff to do. They got nice post-launch content coming up. It's going to be one of those games where it doesn't matter if you play it now or play on next gen starting in a couple weeks or whatever. But I think it's going to be one of those games where it's okay to play a few hours a week or whatnot. You'll still be able to play with all your friends later on, and it'll be great. I'm excited.
It's just cool because I know Nick and Eric have seen it before. Like, Jared, you have that like glint in your eye whenever a game really has you. Grounded, it did the exact same thing to you. It's like I see that little that spark. that little spark going back and forth.
Honestly, if I was ever making a game and I knew Jared loved it, I'd use him as my PR guy because he rolls up like a 1960s salesman when he loves a game and he's pitching it to you. It's like, hey, we've got all these features. You can get it right here, over here, over here. This ray tracing over here. Ray trace corrections over here. It's great. I love the energy. Any more next gen news? Where is Elden Ring? Give me some info. I've got some great info.
Bring that up, Mister.
I actually, I've got some great insider info on this.
Oh,
FromSoft, yeah, I do. Oh. From Software is not showing off Elden Ring because Bluepoint's doing a better job with their games and making their games look better than they've ever made their games look. So
I said that when they showed Demon's Souls.
It's the thing, though.
Look at Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne and look at Demon's Souls with Bluepoint and go, what the shit is this?
Yeah, they're technical wizards, man. They're technical wizards. I know they haven't actually made their own game yet, so there is that to consider. But like,
that's okay.
They build off of foundations in a way like no other. They really do.
What I really, really hope for with the Demon's Souls remake, and I know it's not going to happen, but once again, it's the sadistic part of me. I hope it looks as beautiful as it does, and it's remade to the nines, but I still hope the controls are as janky as they were on PlayStation 3. I want the
You're a
first
monster.
dodge roll someone
You're a
does,
monster.
see the like frame drop, and then they're like, "Wait, no!"
This,
Or
we
put
can
it-
tell this man has never played Dark Souls originally at 30 frames per second.
Oh my god,
Man, we suffered through Blighttown. You can't hurt us.
That's so
Yeah, right?
bad.
Blighttown can suck it, man.
Oh man,
I'm pretty
Blighttown was. People joke about PowerPoint presentations. No, Blighttown literally was a PowerPoint presentation. It got to the point where those mosquitoes were going around with the poison dart shooters, and it's like, yeah, there's a frame.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Yeah.
you know what?
There's another
think
one.
I think the worst part is I did Blighttown in the remaster on the like Xbox One X, and it was still like 18 frames per second. I'm like, what the shit is this? How did you guys remaster it and it still sucks? And my friend who's co-oping it with me, he's like, bro, it doesn't suck. This is at least the frame rate's in double digits. I'm like,
He's got a point.
he's right.
He's right.
My old roommate used to claim he was a gaming god because he beat Skyrim on PlayStation 3.
It's hard to disagree. It's hard to disagree.
Between the save file, making your load times become 40 minutes, and yeah. If you guys have any more questions, drop them in the chat. Other than that, yeah, next week is going to be exciting because we will be on the Saturday. We will be 3 days, well, 2 days technically, 2 days if you're a nerd and can go to a store at midnight and get it, or if you book the week off like a nerd. Or you tried to book the week off like a nerd and your boss booked the week off to go deer hunting, so you're stuck at work and
Like a
instead
nerd.
of like a nerd.
You nerdy deer hunter.
But we'll have, Xbox Series X on the 10th, and we have PlayStation 5 on the 12th, and we'll be talking all about those the show after that. Got some interesting guests lined up for those shows too. So, yeah, it's going to be an exciting couple of weeks. A lot of games to talk about. I know games are a little confusing for a lot of people. I know HDMI 2.1 and built-in haptic feedback and ray tracing has been, like, super important.
RDNA.
3.5. Real taco sauce, my dude.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I hate it here.
Oh, we love you, Eric.
Console gamers are the worst. man.
No.
He's like, why do you think PC
podcast
gamers were the
again?
worst? I'm changing my mind.
Yeah, no. My favorite one has been the people that have been telling me like that I can't be excited to play Gears Tactics or Yakuza Like a Dragon because they've been games that have already been out for a long time. Because apparently I'm supposed to buy the game from Japan and import, and I'm supposed to have a PC to play Gears Tactics already.
Wait till you hear what people are saying about Demon Souls.
And people are like, no, you can't enjoy that. You need to talk about the games. And then I see them fondling over a Dualsense that they can't use on a console they don't have yet. They're like, these triggers, they're so reactive to my finger touch. I'm like, we're going to have an article and someone's going to ram a Dualsense up their arse. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
It happened with the Joy-Con.
Man, why'd you have to make me realize that'll be a thing? Now I hate it
The
here.
haptic feedback upon insertion was phenomenal.
All right.
I want somebody to do like a video of them like using the DualSense, but like how they do on TV when they're faking playing a game. Like they have Halo on the screen, but they're clicking buttons like they're playing a fighter. Like click, 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 click.
Yeah. It's like what is happening on the screen here does not match up.
I can't stand fake game. Like
No, you know what, Eric? You gave me a great idea that's worth $100 DualSense controller. I've got an idea.
I don't like this.
In the mortal words of Eric, I don't like it here.
That's good. That's a new quote. That is a new quote moving forward.
I don't like it here.
Yeah, I don't like it here.
So
like sleepaway camp. I want to go home.
it's an exciting week ahead. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I can't wait for the discourse about ray tracing and dick gravity or
Yeah.
Yeah, horse balls.
Yeah, I can't wait for these people to get the consoles and still not play games.
Bro, no. What I really want to see is like both these consoles. The main game that their selling point is Gear Tactics, which is like a hardcore tactics game, and Demon Souls, which is a hardcore RPG. And I'm like, yeah, I really want to see these console warrior dudes actually beat either one of these games. I want to see this. I want to see your favorite YouTuber beat this game. I want to see it.
Seats, people. The seats.
Let me tell you, if you check the achievement and trophy lists of your favorite podcasters, they're either hidden or it's all Call of Duty Warzone. And that's a shot. So we're moving right along. You can find us again on this channel, 8 p.m. Eastern time, just absolutely basically being a shit posting forum without the toxicity. So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and we will do outros now, and we will start with Eric because he snuck in the back door and didn't get an intro.
No, I'm glad I could make it, guys. Always good to be here. Always good to talk to you guys. Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming up. A lot of fun about to be unfolded. But yeah, you can catch me on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X. Not looking for any console war nonsense from people. I mean, jokes are fine. I'm just tired of the same conversations over and over. My intent is to talk about games, make people laugh, and the people that rock with me and do that, I appreciate you. So yeah. Other than that, you can find me on Brat Podcast Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock.
Dynamically breaking up the sexual tension between Gaming 4K and slow-mo backslap on a regular basis. And slapping the hell out of people. Sam, where can people find you?
Thanks everyone who came out here. Appreciated seeing everyone in chat. Hope you all had as much fun as we did. Unlike Eric, I hope you do not hate it here. That's his job. We annoy him, not you. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's TOLBERT. I'm about to be real busy this month. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how inside you and Jared look by the end of the month. Notice I didn't say myself because every podcast I get one comment that's literally, wow, Nicholas looks like shit. So I'm always dead inside. That's the secret. Jared, where can people find your fantastic work?
Oh, boy. Well, now people can find me. Well, you can find me on Twitter originally over at RaidFreshRunsGrex. Now you can also find me with all my new writing stuff over at Windows Central, Android Central, and iMore. Thank you for coming out. It's great to, of course, be back on, for my little bit of an exodus I had. And and keep the toxicity away. I can't even fucking talk right now. Blah. Okay, keep the crap away. Bring all the fun and love of the games and whatnot. So bring your passion, but keep the crap away, and we'll have a good time.
Absolutely. And I'm Nicholas Downey. You can follow me on Twitter at Undead3XVI, where I make very shitty shit posts when I'm not writing articles. I'm sorry the article to shit post ratio has been so terrible this past month. I promise you that is changing this week. I'm back to it this week. 14-hour shifts suck. Don't do them. And I 10 out of 10 don't recommend. And no, I don't work at CD Projekt Red. But you can find us at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week at the Gaming Perspective Podcast, episode 37. We hate it here. See you guys next